the last vestige of the Senju in the Uchiha family. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Posing as a Spy from the Root. Seeing Shiratori laughing for no apparent reason, the three root ninjas suddenly felt a little uneasy. They were ordered by Danzo to come and monitor the Uchiha clan. Yes, monitoring is not just as simple as conveying orders. They have to ensure that the ninjas of the Uchiha clan stay here honestly and no one will appear on the battlefield to besiege the Ninetales. But when the little brat Uchiha Shiratori arrived, they who were hiding in the dark vaguely heard something extraordinary. The Uchiha clan wanted to disobey orders? You are root ninjas, right? Is it the order of the Hokage to ban Uchiha ninjas from participating in the war, or the order of Shimura Danzo? Shiratori walked over slowly without making a sound. Of course it is the order of the Hokage. Which Hokage? He slowly approached. The Sandaime Hokage. Oh. His hand touched the hilt of the knife. The Sandaime has retired, right? What qualifications does he have to issue orders as a Hokage? The three root ninjas were stunned. Yes. The Sandaime has already retired. This. A root ninja stepped forward and wanted to bring out Danzo and the two advisors. At this moment, Shiratori suddenly jumped up. He quickly drew out the ninja sword at his waist, and the blade flashed with lightning. He slashed at the root ninja in front of him with all his strength. The root ninjas never thought that Shiratori would attack them. Assassinating ninjas from the same village. This should be the hobby of their roots. Swish, the blue blade flashed, and Shiratori cut the opponent's belly open. Then, he swung his long sword and rushed to the next root ninja without hesitation. Damn it, the heart-turning technique. The ninja from the Yamanaka clan cursed inwardly. He knew that he was definitely not Shiratori's opponent, so he chose the family secret technique he was best at in a critical moment. And Shiratori didn't even have the slightest intention of dodging. Success. The Yamanaka clan's root ninja's vision blurred for a while, and when the picture became clear, he found himself floating on a strange sea of blood. This has never happened before. When I use the family secret technique. He looked up with a sense of something. A blood-red full moon hung high in the sky, and above the full moon, there was a dark, gorgeous pattern that looked like ice flowers. Boom! Exclamation mark. His figure was shattered. At the same time, in the eyes of the Uchiha ninja, this ninja from the Yamanaka clan, after making a strange gesture and glaring at Shiratori, began to bleed from all 7 orifices, and then fell limply to the ground. Heh, a scam. Shiratori muttered lightly and swung his sword to cut off the head of this unlucky guy. Dare to have a mental collision with the owner of the Mangeki Sharingan. I don't know if it is brave or stupid. After seeing the tragic death of his 2 colleagues, the only remaining root ninja decisively chose to escape. He wanted to report everything that happened here to Danzo-sama. Unfortunately, someone would not give him this opportunity. After just a few moves, he was smashed in the chest by Shiratori's punch and lay on the ground dead. From the beginning to the end, the 3 battles lasted less than 10 seconds. The 3 root ninjas were crushed and killed by Shiratori. The Uchiha clan members over there were dumbfounded. Many of them, especially the conservative clan members, had never seen Shiratori in a killing form before. It was difficult for them to associate the killing god in front of them with the cute little boy in their daily lives. No wonder those radical clan members who were crazy all day long were more humble and polite than each other when facing this boy. If the radical Jonin could hear the voices of these people, they would probably sneer. You know nothing. This is just the beginning. You can't imagine what it feels like to be punched into the ground by Susanu's heavy fist and have to find someone to dig you out. Okay, the annoying bugs have been cleared. Let's go to the battlefield to support. Shiratori walked over as if nothing had happened, showing no concern for the rebellious behavior of killing 3 root ninjas without authorization. The people who decided to follow Shiratori gathered around him. The number of people seemed to be a little more than before. Everyone has their own judgment. I don't blame you, but I need you to do one thing. He pointed to the back and said to the Uchiha ninjas who stayed behind, when you go to rescue the people, it's best to shout and tell them that it was the Uchiha clan ninjas who protected them. Also, show your clan emblem and make it more conspicuous. Do you understand? Yes, Lord Shiratori. The people who stayed behind answered loudly and even stood up straight. Fugaku, who had been watching coldly, felt mixed emotions at the moment. He knew that he couldn't stop Shiratori, but he couldn't help but want to yell, "Shiratori, I'm the clan leader." Bang! Exclamation mark. The thick Vajra stick hit the Ninetales in the chest and pushed it out of the village. Shiratori Hiruzen stood on the roof of a building, and the veins on his forehead were prominent because of the force. He used all his strength, and the dazzling ninjutsu hit the Ninetales, as if it didn't need chakra, and the demon fox staggered. Then he seized the opportunity to summon the monkey demon, and swung the Vajra staff that the monkey demon had transformed into, trying to push the Ninetales away from the village. However, the difference in power was too great. The Ninetales raised its huge claws to slap the Vajra staff away, and rushed towards Shiratori Hiruzen again. Along the way, it plowed the center of the village, which had already become a ruin, again. Shiratori Hiruzen was breathing heavily, but he had no intention of retreating. He may have many shortcomings that have been criticized, but no one would doubt that he was determined to protect Konoha with his life. Chunin and Genin, withdraw from the battlefield. Sandaime, this is an order. At this time, a small fireball floated towards the Ninetales' head from the side. The Ninetales glanced at it with his peripheral vision and ignored it. Unexpectedly, boom! Exclamation mark. The flames of the explosion engulfed its huge head. Shiratori led the Uchiha ninja to land beside Shiratori Hiruzen. "Shiratori? Sandaime?" Shiratori nodded. "I'm sorry I'm late. Just now, 3 spies from other villages pretended to be Konoha ninjas and stopped us from coming to support us. They also said it was the Sandaime's order. How is this possible?" Shiratori Hiruzen's eyes flashed. "I see. Let's talk about the spies later. Let's deal with the Ninetales first." It was Danzo's suggestion not to let the Uchiha clan participate in the war, and he didn't say yes at the time, but just acquiesced. But now that the Uchiha clan has arrived at the battlefield, then, so be it. And who stipulated that not speaking means acquiescence? It could also mean the other party's suggestion is so stupid that I feel there is no need to refute. Danzo is really something. How could he privately decide not to let the Uchiha clan participate in the war? Well, it has to be criticized. Chapter 77 ending. Namake's Minato teleported home with the flying thunder god technique and gently placed his wife in his arms next to the newborn Naruto. Weak Kushina reached out and stroked Naruto's cheek, her eyes full of reluctance. Watching this scene, Namake's Minato clenched his fists tightly and even his nails pierced into the flesh. He walked to the clothes rack without saying a word, put on the vest of the Konoha ninja, and put on the Hokage robe with the words 4th Hokage on the outside. "Minato." Kushina called softly. "Don't worry, I'll be back soon." Seeing that Shiratori Hiruzen acquiesced to the Uchiha clan's participation in the war, Shiratori breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, the old man was right. As long as it did not touch the red line and the other party's heart, the third generation would choose the safest way to deal with it, and would even help and smooth things over enthusiastically afterwards. It's just, the other party didn't seem to hear clearly just now. Shiratori didn't say that he was stopped by the root ninjas, but that he was stopped by spies disguised as the root. Since he was a spy, then Shiratori Hiruzen could never imagine that Shiratori was so bold that he chopped down a root ninja from the same village. As the Ninetales attacked again, all the Konoha ninjas present were ready. The Uchiha Jonins did not gather together, but ran in all directions at Shiratori's instruction. They would fight side by side with other Konoha ninjas to make sure everyone saw their efforts. "Here they come." The crazy Ninetales stretched out its claws and slapped everyone. Shiratori Hiruzen swung the Vajra stick and collided head-on with the Ninetales. Bang! He stepped back several steps, feeling that his old bones were about to fall apart. Taking this opportunity, Shiratori jumped onto a rooftop near the Ninetales, and a huge amount of chakra gathered in his body. Fire style, great fire extinguishment. He sprayed a torrent of blazing flames diagonally upwards to ensure that it would not affect the residential area below, and the Ninetales was too big, so there was no need to aim at all. Boom. The huge wave of flames was like a waterfall flowing backwards, engulfing the entire upper body of the Ninetales. Roar. The Ninetales roared in pain, and even the fur on its body had the illusion of being burnt. As Shiratori attacked, all the ninjas present dodged the Ninetales' devastating attack while bombarding it. It seemed there was a chance. Some ninjas suddenly became optimistic, but it turned out that they thought too much. Damn bugs. The aftermath of the ninjutsu was dispersed, and the Ninetales, which had been baptized by ninjutsu for several minutes, was unscathed. Its eyes became more ferocious and angry. It stomped heavily on the ground, shaking everything around it, including many Konoha ninjas, into the sky. Uchiha Yashiro was among these unlucky guys. He fell to the ground from midair, and before he could take care of his butt, he saw the claws of the Ninetales enlarged in front of his eyes. At the critical moment, Shiratori flashed to the side of Yashiro, and kicked the latter away. Ah, my butt. The flying Yashiro covered his butt and cried out in pain. What the hell? You almost couldn't use your butt. After Shiratori rescued Yashiro in time, he suddenly jumped to the side and avoided the giant claws of the Ninetales that fell from the sky. But the power of this was still a little beyond his imagination. Boom! Exclamation mark. The shock wave blew him away, and the overwhelming dust engulfed his figure. At this time, Uchiha, hearing the voice of the Ninetales, Shiratori suddenly shuddered. A giant tail broke through the dust and swept towards Shiratori. Gan. Shiratori's eyes fixed. He was in midair and couldn't dodge. He decisively activated all his protective measures, crossed his arms in front of him, tensed his muscles, and activated the Thousand Hands secret technique with all his strength. He even secretly activated the main Gekio. At the moment when the Ninetales' tail collided with his body, the golden ribs protected his body. Bang! Exclamation mark. Boom. Shiratori was hit hard by the giant tail and flew away, and his body smashed countless houses. After dealing with this strange Uchiha kid, the Ninetales' scalded eyes turned to the direction of the Hokage rock. On the roof of a building, Shiratori Hiruzen saw the look in the Ninetales' eyes, and his heart suddenly skipped a beat. Konoha. Hashirama Senju. Mito Uzumaki. Madara Uchiha. The Ninetales' eyes were filled with inexorable madness and hatred. It opened its mouth, and the violent chakra fluctuations made some of the perceptive ninjas feel dizzy. Is this the tailed beast ball? No, stop it. The Ninetales ignored the ninjutsu that hit it, and the tailed beast ball took shape quickly. It's over. Shiratori Hiruzen looked as hen. Destroy it. A pitch black spherical energy bomb burst out. Flying thunder god guided lightning. The tailed beast ball, which was enough to flatten the entire Konoha village, strangely stagnated in midair. A large net composed of spells stopped it. The tailed beast ball was gradually wrapped and squeezed by the large net, and finally disappeared on the spot. Almost at the same time, a devastating explosion suddenly occurred outside Konoha village, far away from the village, and the strong light illuminated the night sky. Swish, a figure appeared on the battlefield. It's the fourth Hokage. Namake's Minato's face was as gloomy as water. He looked at the Ninetales that caused huge damage to the village. Spiritual summoning technique. The figure of Gamma Bunta fell from the sky and pressed the Ninetales under him. Bunta, please control the Ninetales for a while. I will do my best. The Ninetales, lying on the ground, turned his head and looked at the big toad that used all his strength to press him under him. Violent chakra fluctuations appeared again. Tailed beast ball, the second one. This time, when the tailed beast ball was about to take shape, it suddenly opened its mouth and swallowed the tailed beast ball in one gulp. Just when Konoha was about to suffer the tailed beast breath, the Ninetales disappeared. Boom. The sky in the distance lit up again. The ninjas who were besieging the Ninetales stayed where they were. They looked at the devastated Konoha village and knew that the Ninetales rebellion was not over yet, but the fourth Hokage had transferred the Ninetales out of Konoha. The fourth Hokage Minato Namikaze was ready to solve the Ninetales problem alone. Minato. Shiratori Hiruzen stared at the explosion in the distance in a daze. He suppressed his uneasiness and said to the elite ninjas around him, over there. Let's go support the fourth Hokage. Yes. The third Hokage. But the distance was too far. Really, was it still too late? Sarutobi Hiruzen led a large number of people to support, and Shiratori also crawled out of a ruin. It hurt so much. He grimaced and limped when he walked. His body is far from developing to its peak state. Even with the blood of the Senju, it is difficult for him to fight the tailed beast in hand-to-hand combat. Besides, even if it is an adult Senju member, no one can compete with the tailed beast in strength. Looking at the receding backs of Sarutobi Hiruzen and others, he knew that, although the Nine-Tails rebellion has not ended, his part and that of the Uchiha have ended. Even if the main Jiki technique is used, it is estimated that it will be difficult to save the Yondaime and his wife. The price of the Shikigami Fujin is to sacrifice the soul to the god of death, and the Jinkriki who has been extracted from the tailed beast involves a rapid loss of vitality at an unknown level, and his Kaminobi should be helpless. Moreover, it is not a wise thing to expose the main Jiki in the Nine-Tails rebellion. Chapter 78 Cemetery. October 13th. Light rain. On the third day after the Nine-Tails rebellion, the funeral of the fourth Hokage and his wife and all the victims was held in Konoha village. This disaster occurred in the center of the village, and the losses caused were incalculable, even greater than the ninja world war that had just passed. Beside Shiratori, Asuma burst into tears. His mother, Sarutobi Biwako, who was responsible for delivering Kushina, also died that night. And all of them, the younger generation, except for Shiratori who shone brilliantly, were transferred to a safe place with ordinary people, and they didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the war. Shiratori patted Asuma's shoulder, but didn't say anything, not knowing how to comfort him. The funeral was over. Shiratori left the crowd and turned to the cemetery. In the cemetery, there were newly erected tombstones, among which were some people he knew. 5 of the Uchiha Jonin who went to support the Nine-Tails battlefield died. He placed a bunch of flowers in front of the tombstone and stood there for a long time without saying a word. "You little brat of Uchiha, do you still have the nerve to come here?" Hearing the voice, Shiratori looked up at the front not far away, not scolding him. There should be no such idiots in the village now. 5-year-old Uchiha Itachi stared blankly at the crushed flowers in front of him. Opposite him, 2 teenagers wearing ninja forehead protectors were full of anger. "It's all because of you Uchiha clan. Otherwise, how could that demon fox come out?" One of the teenagers pointed at Itachi. "We Uchiha clan also sacrificed many people." Itachi lowered his head and looked at his feet. "You deserve it," another teenager said, and wanted to take action directly. "It was you who caused the trouble in the first place. Huh. You killed many people. Then I'm so happy. You deserve it. You deserve to die." Itachi raised his head suddenly and looked directly at the two. The 2 teenagers were suddenly frightened by Itachi's eyes. They wanted to teach this ignorant brat a lesson, but they didn't dare to do it. Itachi ignored him and squatted down to sort out the crushed bouquets. Compared to ninjas, more civilians died in the Nine-Tails rebellion. His 2 playmates were killed by flying rocks, and he came to the cemetery to visit them today. Seeing the Uchiha brat in front of them acting as if no one was around, the 2 boys who lost their loved ones in the turmoil were furious. They looked at each other, and one of them suddenly reached out to Itachi. Snap! His wrist was grabbed. The 2 turned their heads and found that Shiratori had appeared beside them at some point. "I understand the pain of losing your loved ones, but what you said just now makes me very upset. Get out before I make up my mind to cut off one of your arms." The 2 boys fled in panic. Itachi stood up, holding the broken bouquet in his hand, and nodded to Shiratori, then walked past Shiratori. "Itachi." Shiratori called him. Itachi stopped and didn't look back. "What's wrong with you?" There was a long silence. "Shiratori." Itachi turned around, his voice tinged with tears. "The village is different from what you said. We are also desperately protecting the village. We have also made painful sacrifices, and in his heart, this incident is just a fuse. On weekdays, he follows Shiratori's teachings and has absolute goodwill towards everyone outside the clan, but in return, he is mostly cold-shouldered and rejected. Sometimes he even thinks that he is not doing well enough, or that he has offended others unintentionally. Although I'm reluctant to admit it, this may be partly our own problem." Shiratori said calmly. He knows very well what kind of virtues the Uchiha ninjas are outside. especially those radical guys. One or two of them act peaceful and friendly in front of him, but as long as they face outsiders, even the most eccentric uncle, the 8th generation, almost gave Hinata a cerebral hemorrhage when he was in the southeast camp. They are too arrogant. Shiratori always told Itachi that Konoha was jointly founded by the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, so the village is the child of the Uchiha clan, and the Uchiha clan should do its best to protect it. In this regard, those radical clan members did much better than Itachi, but their ideas were a little distorted. In their view, since the Senju clan has retired, the only ones who founded Konoha are the Uchiha clan. After rounding off, the Uchiha clan, isn't it the royal family of Konoha? No problem. Shiratori was helpless about this. If he got along with people outside the clan with such a mentality, it would be a miracle if he was not hated. And let's not talk about these, just look at the background of this Nine Tails rebellion. The direct mastermind behind the scenes, Uchiha Obito, and the indirect mastermind behind the scenes, Uchiha Madara. So strictly speaking, although the Uchiha in the village did nothing, it doesn't seem so unfair to put the blame on the entire Uchiha clan. But, what does this have to do with Shiratori? He was taken care of by those friendly clan members since he was a child and grew up eating alternative meals from hundreds of families. For him, the Uchiha clan is his home. If Itachi in front of him failed to be guided and finally fell into the arms of the Konoha high-level officials, he would not hesitate to kill the other party. Between the village and the clan, his boat was originally crooked, and it was crooked to an absurd degree. Itachi, if you can't even stand these bad words now, then in the future, forget it. Shiratori looked at Itachi, showing a hesitant to speak look. What's wrong? Nothing. Now that the 4th generation has died, the candidate for the next Hokage has not been determined, and the possibility of the 3rd generation returning to power is very high. You mean, the 3rd generation will be unfavorable to us? No, the 3rd generation is still very fair. At least he will be relatively fair on the surface. What I'm worried about is Shimura Danzo. With the connivance of the 3rd generation, he will definitely do some. Ahem. Okay, this is not what you want to care about now. Shiratori patted Itachi's head. Itachi, when you become a ninja in the future, you must obey the orders of the village. No matter how unreasonable the orders are, you must not resist. After all, the clan relies on the village to exist. Shiratori, who had just killed 3 root messenger ninjas 3 days ago, said earnestly. I understand. Itachi's answer was obviously hesitant. When Itachi walked away, Shiratori also left the cemetery. Uchiha-shan, who had been hiding on the side, hurriedly followed. What is the attitude of the people towards our Uchiha clan? Shiratori asked. They are very dissatisfied, but they don't doubt us. That's enough. Is the post-war ninja clan meeting tomorrow? Yes, clan leader Fugaku will attend. But Shiratori, will the village's top leaders really suppress us? Definitely, and there is a high probability that Shimura Danzo will take the lead and force us to move the clan land to the edge of the village. Then what should we do? Uchiha-shan scratched his head in distress. He thought of what Shiratori did that day, and suddenly an idea flashed in his mind. Shiratori, go kill that old dog Danzo tonight. Shiratori, Uncle Shan. What's wrong? Please don't play with Uncle Yasuro in the future. Chapter 79. Why did Lord Danzo betray the village? The Aburame clan raises a large number of insects, and it is inconvenient to live in the center of the village. This place near the forest will be your new clan land. In the meeting room, Shimura Danzo held a small wooden stick, pointed to a remote location on the outskirts of the village, and said to Aburame Shuwei, the clan leader of the Aburame clan. Shuwei looked up and glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting behind Danzo. The other party did not express anything. I understand. He nodded in agreement and seemed to have no opinion on this decision. It seems that I have implicated the family. He thought to himself. It is rumored that after the sacrifice of the 4th Hokage, the 3rd Hokage will regain power in Konoha, and Aburame Shuwei and Akimichi Choza, who had the best relationship with the 4th Hokage, and were even regarded as direct descendants, are in a somewhat awkward situation. Akimichi Choza is from the Akimichi clan of the Pig, Deer and Chow, and has always had a close relationship with the Sarutobi clan. In addition, Akimichi Tofu will give him a warning, and then let him go. But someone is different. Shimura Danzo seems to be very interested in that little guy Tojin. Zui glanced at Danzo obscurely and made a decision secretly. After arranging the Aburame clan, the next thing to do was the highlight of this meeting. Danzo glanced at Uchiha Fugaku, who was looking straight ahead, and said lightly, "Many buildings in the Uchiha clan's territory have been destroyed, and even the police force building has collapsed. So after our discussion, we decided to rebuild the Uchiha clan's territory." The small wooden stick pointed to the most remote corner on the Konoha map. "Let's do it here. The Uchiha clan has many members, and the area here is relatively large." Fugaku exploded on the spot. He looked at the empty space that was almost squeezed out of the edge of the map, and he couldn't believe his eyes. "Large area? The area outside Konoha village is even larger. Why don't you bastards just exile us?" Exclamation mark. Danzo-sama, why? Does Chief Fugaku have any objection? Danzo narrowed his eyes dangerously. The Ninetales rebellion must be closely related to the Uchiha clan. It was merciful not to exterminate them directly. How dare you pick and choose here? Danzo, this location is too far from the center of Konoha. Fugaku still wanted to fight for it. If something happens in the village, it will be difficult for the police force to arrive in time, and there are also the usual patrol tasks. Clan leader Fugaku. Danzo put his hand on the table and said in a loud voice, "The tasks of the police force can be handled by the Anbu. You just need to obey orders." What happened? The police force can't arrive in time. In addition to you, the Uchiha clan, who else can cause a big incident in the village? In fact, Danzo also wanted to investigate another matter during the Ninetales rebellion. The 3 subordinates he sent to pass on the order and monitor the Uchiha clan disappeared, and the Uchiha ninjas, led by Uchiha Shiratori, actually appeared on the battlefield of the siege of the Ninetales. Unfortunately, Shiratori Hiruzen told him in a very serious tone that he must not mention this matter again. Now is the weakest time in the village, and he must not create any more branches to provoke internal fighting. Danzo was almost furious. When has the root suffered such a loss? Before, the root dealt with others at will in the village. How could someone kill a root ninja in the village without authorization? Exclamation mark. He really wanted to say, "Monkey, you will regret it later, Danzo-sama, you will regret it." A slightly childish voice came from outside. Who stole my line? Danzo turned his head to look at the door, only to see Uchiha Shiratori walking in with 3 corpses. This extremely shocking scene gave everyone in the room a premonition the intruder is not friendly. Seeing the corpse in Shiratori's hand, Danzo's forehead was throbbing. These corpses. They didn't even take off the masks of the root. Danzo-sama, if you insist on moving the Uchiha clan to the edge of Konoha, you will regret it. Shiratori threw the 3 bodies aside like garbage. "Kid, what do you mean?" Danzo was so angry that he laughed. "And what's going on with these root ninjas? Can you give me an explanation? Are you talking about them?" Shiratori walked over and took off the masks of the 3 bodies one by one. "They are spies from other villages. I suspect that the Ninetales rebellion is related to them." "Nonsense." Danzo was furious. "They are my subordinates. How dare you kill root ninjas and slander them as spies? What is your intention?" Shiratori scratched his ears and didn't care about Danzo's accusations. "Oh, your subordinates, so you are also a spy?" Without waiting for Danzo to answer, he recounted what happened that night at a very fast speed. Especially when it came to prohibiting the Uchiha clan from participating in the war. Shiratori's tone was sad and angry. What was the intention of not allowing the powerful Uchiha clan to fight the Ninetales? If the Uchiha clan could join the war earlier, would Konoha have so many people sacrificed? The most annoying thing is that they actually faked the order of the Hokage. "I don't believe that the Sandaime will doubt us," Shiratori said firmly. "What's more, ordinary Sharingan can't control the Ninetales at all, so there is only one truth." He pointed at Danzo. "You, Shimura Danzo, colluded with foreign enemies, released the Ninetales, and intended to destroy Konoha village." Danzo's face was livid, and his chest rose and fell violently. "You Uchiha is a born evil little bastard." Shiratori ignored the furious Danzo at all, but looked at Shiratori Hiruzen. "Sandaime, I propose a thorough investigation of the root. You give the order, and our police force will go to arrest people, and we guarantee that not a single spy will be spared." The patriarchs of the various ninja clans present had strange expressions. They knew that Shiratori was talking nonsense, but seeing that Danzo, who usually liked to put hats on others, was put on the pot by this little guy, they couldn't help laughing. It's hard to change anything with just these words, but Shiratori is smart, in that he put the conflict between the Uchiha and the village leaders on the surface. If the Uchiha clan land is eventually moved, it would be equivalent to the Sandaime Hokage publicly telling the Uchiha clan, yes, I doubt and exclude you. And this is impossible for the Sandaime. Sure enough. Danzo, the Uchiha clan is also part of the village, you shouldn't doubt them. The Uchiha clan land does not need to be moved, just rebuild it on the original site. Shiratori Hiruzen, who had been silent, said, Monkey? Danzo turned back in disbelief, who? Me? Didn't you nod in agreement after our discussion yesterday? Are you blaming me again? Shiratori. Shiratori Hiruzen looked at Shiratori. Elder Danzo will not betray the village. This is just an accident, so stop here. Okay. Yes, I will follow the orders of the Sandaime-sama. Danzo turned his head and met Shiratori's eyes. The other party's half smile seemed to say, I told you that you would regret it. You, Sandaime, urgent military information. An Anbu ninja rushed in and interrupted Danzo's words. He handed a scroll to Shiratori Hiruzen. Shiratori Hiruzen only took a quick look, and his face changed drastically. Everyone, this meeting is temporarily cancelled. Now notify all Jonin to gather and hold a combat meeting. In the 51st year of Konoha, autumn, Konoha broke out the Nine-Tails Rebellion. The 4th Hokage died, and the Konoha ninja suffered heavy losses. Taking this opportunity, Kumogakure tore up the armistice agreement with Konoha and sent troops to the Land of Fire. Chapter 83 years. In the spring of the 55th year of Konoha, with the delegation sent by the Hidden Cloud Village to visit Konoha to discuss negotiations, the war that lasted for 3 years and 5 months finally came to an end. The people spread the news, and the ninjas stationed on the front line could finally go home. Shiratori, who was already 14 years old, walked leisurely into his own noodle shop. No, this is no longer a noodle shop, but the headquarters of Homura Fan Weekly. This magazine was founded by Shiratori and some businessmen in the family invested. At first, the 3rd Hokage disagreed, because it was absolutely unacceptable to allow the Uchiha clan to manipulate public opinion. But Shiratori's visit dispelled his doubts. Shiratori said that this magazine would only publish some strange stories, not involving any village affairs, and would leave the first few pages for the Hokage. When Shiratori Hiruzen had time, he could publish a signed article on it to preach his will of fire to all the people of Konoha. When he didn't have time, these pages would also publish some positive news about Shiratori Hiruzen to establish his image among the people of Konoha. And the Enbu could supervise him at any time. Shiratori Hiruzen was tempted. His second time as Hokage had already caused a lot of controversy, and Kumogakure also directly launched a war like picking on a weak persimmon, without any regard for his face, making his image in the minds of the people directly inferior to that of the 4th Hokage. Moreover, Konoha had experienced the 3 wars, the Nine-Tails Rebellion, and the Kumogakure War in just about a year. People were panicking. Even for the stability of the village, he had to re-establish his great image. So the two sides hit it off. Lord Shiratori, a responsible person, saw Shiratori. Should we put the news about the Kumogakure delegation on the front page of this weekly magazine? No. Shiratori chuckled. The news about the Sandaime Hokage must be put at the front, and all the credit for this truce should be given to the Sandaime. Just say Kumogakure was forced to propose a truce because of fear of the Sandaime's strength and prestige. Just write it like that. The person in charge's eyes suddenly became weird. When he first joined the company, he was told news about the Sandaime Hokage must be exaggerated as much as possible. The more exaggerated, the more disgusting, the better. Even if the Sandaime went to the public toilet because he had to pee after get off work, you have to write that the Sandaime would also take time to check the construction of public facilities in Konoha in his spare time. Over time, he seemed to understand something. But the Sandaime never seemed to notice it, because Shiratori's private goods in the magazine's main column of oddities caught his attention. Some of the Uchiha clan's history, contributions to the village, and some positive news about the Uchiha were mixed in with fascinating little stories. The Sandaime felt that he had discovered the truth, so this is the purpose of the magazine. He was happy to see the improvement of the relationship between the Uchiha clan and the village, so he relaxed the supervision of the magazine a lot. Besides, maybe because of his age, he still liked to read the articles praising and flattering him on the first few pages of the magazine, and he didn't think it was corny at all. After a few more instructions, Shiratori walked out of the magazine and strolled on the street. In fact, it was not a stroll. His route accidentally approached the residence of the Kumogakure delegation, and soon he circled the hotel, where the other party was staying for several times. I don't know when these professional robbers from Kumogakure will go to steal the white eyes. He has been waiting for this moment. He will not stop Hyuga Hayashi from killing the leader of the Kumogakure delegation, but he is looking forward to the Hayashi substitutionary death incident later. At that time, it will be the first step for the Uchiha clan to resist the Konoha high-level officials, and it also represents the attack and defense change. A faint scolding sound came from not far away. Shiratori raised his eyebrows. As a senior official of the Konoha police force, he had to run over to watch the fun. No, it was to mediate the conflict. A little boy who looked 3 or 4 years old was pushed to the ground. He had yellow hair and 3 whisker-like lines on each side of his cheeks. The owner of the mask shop picked up a mask and threw it on his face. "Get out of here, you little fox." The boy rubbed his face that was hit and hurt. His eyes turned red, as if he was about to cry. But he finally held back, because this kind of thing, he was used to it. He stood up, looked at the disgusted eyes of the people around him, lowered his head, and prepared to leave. At this time, someone called him. "Why don't you pick up the mask that someone gave you?" The boy turned around in surprise. Few people would take the initiative to talk to him. Shiratori picked up the mask, patted the dust on it, and handed it to the boy. The boy took it subconsciously, looking at the sunny smile on Shiratori's face, but didn't know what to say. He had never encountered such a situation. The mask shop owner who witnessed all this pursed his lips and dared not say a word. He knew this boy, Uchiha Shiratori, deputy captain of the Konoha police force and captain of the 1st squad. On the battlefield, this peerless genius of the Uchiha clan once killed 18 ninjas from the Hidden Cloud village in one day. All of this was published in the Homura Fan Weekly. But he didn't want to mess with Shiratori, but Shiratori wanted to mess with him. "Come over there, those two." Shiratori waved to the Konoha police force ninjas passing by. "Master Shiratori." The two trotted over and stood in a proper manner. "Invite this guy to the police force for tea." Shiratori pointed at the mask shop owner. The mask shop owner was confused. "Master Shiratori, I don't think I did anything wrong, did I?" He just gently pushed the hateful demon fox. Shiratori looked at him, smiling. "Do you think this is a small matter?" Yes. Shiratori walked over, put his head close to the other's ear, and whispered, "But in my opinion, you deliberately attacked the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. You tried to anger the Jinchuriki and make it lose control, causing the tailed beast to run away and endanger the village. Is this crime enough? If not, I will add more." The mask shop owner was scared to death and almost fell to the ground. He just held on to his last courage and asked tremblingly, "What is Jinchuriki?" Hearing this, Shiratori's whole face wrinkled together. No wonder there are always idiots who think that the little boy next to him is the demon fox himself, and they don't know the concept of Jinchuriki at all. Everyone says that Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't protect Konoha well enough. In his opinion, this is too good. Everyone is almost illiterate. Shiratori waved his hand, signaling the ninjas of the police force to take the mask shop owner away. They would not really do anything to him, just scare him at most. He took the boy's hand and walked away gradually amid the fearful and evasive gazes of the crowd. "Brother, where are we going?" "To eat. I heard your stomach growling." "Oh, who are you, brother?" "Uchiha Shiratori. My name is Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto." Chapter 81 Naruto. Ichiraku Ramen. Little Naruto put down his bowl with a satisfied look on his face and burped. He turned to look at Shiratori, who had kindly invited him to dinner, and was immediately shocked. In front of Shiratori, more than a dozen large bowls were piled up into a small mountain. Great. So awesome. Naruto's eyes were shining. Shiratori drank the last mouthful of soup and touched his stomach, which had not changed at all. Well, 8/10 full. Since his own noodle shop closed down, he can eat a Chiraku ramen without restraint, instead of wrapping it up like a zanzi every time in secret. As his body develops, his appetite is also increasing day by day. Shiratori's situation is different from that of almost all ninjas. He can now clearly feel that there is a bottleneck in his strength growth. The mastery of ninjutsu, the skills of physical skills, the experience of actual combat, the efficiency of chakra application, etc., etc. These aspects are no longer a problem for him. The biggest problem that limits his strength is not talent, but age. After entering puberty, his physical and mental energy showed an explosive growth, and the best effort he could make seemed to be weight. When he turns 18, it's nonsense to say that his physical data can be out of the human category. After all, he is only the blood of Uchiha and Senju, not a Saiyan. But there should be no suspense that he can suppress one of the 5 kage head-on. Even now, his abilities have not reached their peak, so it should not be a big problem for him to hold back a cage. If he is facing the elite jonin of each village, haha, I will beat 10 of them. At this time, a mysterious masked man who belongs to the category of beating 10 by him sat next to Shiratori and the others. Shiratori glanced at him with his peripheral vision and seemed not to be surprised by his arrival. Kakashi, what a coincidence. Did you come with me or with Naruto? He teased. It's just a coincidence that I met you and I just happened to want to eat ramen, Kakashi said without blushing or panting. After so many years of being in the Anbu, winning over Danzo, rescuing Tenzo, and facing Orochimaru, Kakashi has changed a lot in his dealings with people. At least he would greet Shiratori when he met her, instead of turning his head and pretending not to see her. And some time ago, he received the task of monitoring Uchiha, or monitoring Shiratori. With Shiratori's observation ability, he could always find him out. So in the end, monitoring often became a journey together, and the relationship between the two became familiar. Shiratori didn't see him these days, so he must have gone to protect Naruto. Seeing Kakashi's strange look, Naruto moved closer to Shiratori, a little scared. Don't be afraid, this Jonin is a good person, just a little perverted. Shiratori comforted Naruto, and his eyes inadvertently swept across Kakashi's trouser pocket, where there seemed to be a book inserted. He's also a grown-up pervert. Kakashi's hand holding the chopsticks froze, and then he pretended not to hear anything. What can I do? Neither can he win the argument nor the fight. Shiratori wiped his mouth, stood up, and prepared to leave with Naruto. Where are you going? Shiratori raised his eyebrows. The commercial street in the Uchiha clan territory. Take this little guy to buy some daily necessities. I'll go too. Aren't you here to eat ramen? Let's go after you finish eating. Shiratori took Naruto's hand and walked away. Kakashi rubbed his face in pain. If the Sandaime knew that he allowed Shiratori to bring the Jinchuriki into the Uchiha clan territory, alas, he put down his chopsticks and prepared to follow. Mr. Ninja, please wait a moment. The owner of Ichiraku Ramen called Kakashi with a wave of his hand. You haven't paid yet. Huh? I've already paid? Not for your ramen, but... He pointed to the place where Shiratori was just now. Kakashi looked at the bowls of noodles piled up like a small mountain and suddenly felt that his blood pressure was a little bit higher. Uchiha clan territory. Naruto ran around the commercial street, looking around, and seemed to like everything. The merchants on the street were very enthusiastic for Shiratori's sake. Naruto was very happy, even happy to cry. The people here are different from those in other places in the village. They don't seem to hate him. Shiratori understood the meaning in Naruto's eyes and explained casually, it's normal. The less knowledge and the lower the IQ, the more they hate you. Naruto nodded. He didn't understand, and his attention was immediately attracted by a toy store. The Uchiha clan is a 1,000-year-old clan, and even ordinary members of the clan have a knowledge reserve far beyond that of ordinary residents of Konoha village. In their view, Jinchuriki are ordinary humans with tailed beasts sealed in their bodies. How can they be confused with tailed beasts? Not to mention fear, they were even curious about Naruto. Is that little guy the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? He's so young. Look at his hair. It seems to have something to do with the fourth Hokage. You said his last name is Uzumaki? Then why doesn't he have red hair? So cute. Especially those whiskers on his face. I really want to pinch them. Are those whisker-like lines because of the nine tails? If I seal the 8 tails of Kumogakure in my body, will I grow horns? Turn into a Minotaur? I advise you to give up this dangerous idea. After Shiratori paid, Naruto ran out of the toy store with his toys in his arms and accidentally bumped into a little boy. Ouch. Naruto's physical fitness is not to be underestimated. He just stumbled twice and stood firm, but the little boy opposite him sat down on the ground. Why don't you be more careful? Sorry, I'm so happy today. Naruto was a little embarrassed and apologized by patting his head. 4-year-old Sasuke rubbed his butt and stood up from the ground and saw Shiratori walking out of the toy store at a glance. His little face suddenly puffed up. Hey. Shiratori looked up and saw Sasuke pointing at him. Sasuke? What's wrong? It's all because of you. Sasuke's mouth pursed as if he was about to cry. If I hadn't defended you, how could my brother be beaten by my father? Shiratori's head was full of question marks. What happened? You are not allowed to say that, brother Shiratori. Hearing the impoliteness in Sasuke's words, Naruto was unhappy. He stood directly in front of Shiratori and confronted Sasuke. This is our family's business, and it has nothing to do with you, an outsider. As the son of the patriarch who was well dressed and well fed, how could Sasuke indulge Naruto? Naruto raised his head and chest. I just want to intervene. Do you want to fight? Fight. Just as Sasuke was about to fight, his collar was grabbed. Uchiha Itachi pulled Sasuke aside and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Shiratori, my brother has caused you trouble. Shiratori found that there was a red slap mark on Itachi's face. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. Need help? Itachi subconsciously raised his hand to cover the slap mark on his face when he found that Shiratori was staring at it. What's wrong? Nothing. Seeing that Itachi didn't want to talk, Shiratori didn't ask any more questions, but just sighed silently in his heart. No matter how the plot was broken, the conflict between Itachi and Fugaku would always break out. In fact, he didn't realize that he was also a factor in the outbreak of this conflict. I don't know if it was because of the great increase in strength or the influence of the Mangekyou Sharingan on the mental state. Shiratori's attitude towards the village became more and more tough. In the past, even if he sympathized with Naruto's experience, he would not bring the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki to the Uchiha's nest without authorization. This would simply stimulate the Sandame's fragile nerves. Shiratori's way of dealing with people became more and more unscrupulous. In contrast, the clan leader Fugaku became extremely conservative. Even as a neutral faction, he could be classified as a conservative. Some of his behaviors made Itachi very confused. In Itachi's view, some of his father's plans, which he said were for the benefit of the family, were actually throwing the family's dignity on the ground. If this goes on, what's the difference between the Uchiha clan and a dog wagging its tail and begging for mercy in front of the Konoha high-level officials? Exclamation mark. So during the meal today, the conflict broke out. Sasuke, stop messing around. Itachi lowered his head and found that Sasuke was still eager to try, so he hurriedly persuaded him. Oh, let me introduce you. This kid is Uzumaki Naruto. Shiratori said. Hello, big brother. Naruto greeted enthusiastically. Hello. Itachi was stunned and looked at Shiratori. He couldn't be. Yes. Is it okay to come here? Itachi asked a little uncertainly. After all, Naruto's identity was too sensitive. Shiratori pointed upwards. Itachi looked in the direction of Shiratori's finger and saw Kakashi squatting on the roof, reading a book. By the way, I have something to tell you. Shiratori pushed Naruto in front of Itachi and said, after the Kumogakure delegation leaves Konoha, I will be away from the village for a while. I don't know when I can come back. During that time, please take care of Naruto. This child is very pitiful. When you play with Sasuke on weekdays, take him with you. Okay. Hearing this, Sasuke was unhappy. Just when he wanted to object, his brother covered his mouth. Brother Shiratori, where are you going? Naruto looked at Shiratori and was reluctant. Although it was only the first day they met, Shiratori left a deep impression on him. I'm going to do something very important. Shiratori held the hilt of the knife. Some legacy issues should be resolved. For so many years, letting Senju Torashiro live well is not a good thing. Night. A rapid knock on the door woke Shiratori up. It's so late. What's the matter? Lord Shiratori, Lord Fugaku has ordered the police force to assemble immediately. What is he going to do? A coup? Shiratori yawned. His mind was obviously not clear. Oh no. It is said that something happened at the Kumogakure delegation. Shiratori suddenly became alert. He finally came. Kumogakure is indeed a robber's den disguised as a ninja village, and it turns out that a dog can't change its eating habits. He turned and walked into the house. Lord Shiratori, where are you going? Lord Fugaku is still waiting. Shiratori turned around, speechless. You are Uncle Yashiro's subordinate, right? Why do you ask? Don't I need to change clothes? I went to the meeting in my pajamas. On a street near the Hyuga clan's territory, the body of the leader of the Kumogakure delegation lay there quietly, with his eyes open. The Enbu ninja stepped forward, ripped open the man's shirt and checked it. He first glanced at Hyuga Hayashi next to him, and then nodded to Sarutobi Hiruzen who had arrived. It was the soft fist of the Hyuga clan that caused the fatal injury. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes. It's not easy to deal with. Outside the crime scene, the ninjas of the Konoha police force are responsible for isolating the crowd and guarding the periphery, and are not allowed to approach without permission. Shiratori sat on the wall of someone's yard, bored. Sometimes he really didn't understand the brain circuits of the Konoha high-level officials. It's fine to guard against us when the tailed beasts are in trouble, but why is this dead person also guarding against us? Can the Sharingan control corpses, or is it equipped with the impure world reincarnation? Get out of the way. We are the Kumogakure delegation. Let us in. Hearing the noise, Shiratori disappeared instantly. Not far away, a Kumogakure ninja wanted to push away the police ninja who was blocking the way, but his eyes blurred, and he was kicked away before he could figure out what was going on. Shiratori appeared in front of the Kumogakure delegation, looking at him unkindly. What's wrong with you? With a loud bang, the Kumogakure ninja who was kicked away smashed down a section of the wall, and the street was filled with smoke and dust. The other Kumogakure ninjas were immediately furious, but when they saw the person in front of them clearly, they found that their anger didn't seem to be that great. Uchiha Shiratori? It's me. I recognized him. Why don't you get out of here? Shiratori rubbed his eyes, looking like he hadn't woken up yet. You Konoha killed our Kumogakure ninjas. You must give us an explanation. Shouldn't he die? Who told him to kidnap the daughter of the head of the Hyuga clan? Do you have evidence? No matter what, it is a fact that Konoha killed the ninjas of the Kumogakure delegation, and we will not let it go. Right. Shiratori picked his ears, and Kumogakure's nonsense also convinced him. The main thing is that this kind of thing has never happened before. How can you send a delegation to negotiate openly, but secretly try to seize the bloodline limit of the other village? He couldn't understand what these Kumogakure barbarians did. The two sides were arguing with each other until an Enbu ninja came over and invited everyone from Kumogakure in on the order of the Sandaime. After a while, people came out in groups of 2 or 3, and the Hyuga clan was the last. Shiratori looked at Hyuga Hayashi who passed by him and suddenly said, "Sir Hayashi, is the matter resolved? Do you need help?" Hyuga Hayashi stopped and said, "Thank you for your concern, Sir Shiratori. This matter has been resolved." That's good. I thought that with the style of the Sandaime, Sir Hayashi would make Sir Hayashi pay with his life. Hearing this, little Hinata, who was held in Hyuga Hayashi's arms, suddenly cried, "Father, don't die. It's okay. Father won't die." Hyuga Hayashi comforted his daughter and looked at Shiratori deeply. "Sir Shiratori, I'll take my leave first. Goodbye. In the Hyuga clan's team, an old man vaguely heard the conversation between Shiratori and Hayashi. Family dignity. He clenched his fists, as if he had made some kind of resolution. Chapter 83 Hinata Gen's Invitation. The next day, the Hyuga clan. In this closed-door meeting of the family, the elders of the main family and the branch family were all furious, and their eyes were almost red with anger. The third generation Hokage did not make a clear statement on this incident, but repeatedly mentioned 2 points. First, the peace today is hard won, and the armistice agreement between Konoha and Kumogakure must be signed, and no one is allowed to destroy it. Second, it is an indisputable fact that the leader of the Kumogakure delegation was killed by Konoha ninjas, and the village must give Kumogakure an explanation. Although it was not said explicitly, the Hyuga clan understood the meaning of the third generation's words. Life for life, calm the situation. The Hyuga clan knew the third generation too well, and they even tasted another obscure meaning. Although the third generation attached great importance to the peace negotiations with Kumogakure, he did not give any instructions to the Hyuga clan. So if the Hyuga clan really chose to hand over the murderer, it would be a decision completely out of their own will, and it had nothing to do with him. Shame. This is a shame that the Hyuga clan, or 1,000-year-old noble family, has never had before. If they took the initiative to attack the Kumogakure delegation, it would be fine. It was clearly the Kumogakure scum who kidnapped the princess of the main family, and they were just forced to fight back. However, now, self-defense has inexplicably turned into mutual fighting. The clan leader Hyuga Hayashi sat in the main seat. He looked at the chaotic scene below and finally spoke. I was impulsive in this matter. I will give an explanation to Kumogakure with my life. The Hyuga clan is not Uchiha. They cannot resist the Sandaime. Unless a force that has the ability and the idea to fight against the village's top leaders is willing to help them with all their strength. As soon as Hayashi finished speaking, the main elder Hyuga Gen, who had been resting with his eyes closed, suddenly laughed. Elder Gen, what do you think? Feeling the gazes of the crowd, Hyuga Gen said coldly, Hayashi, do you think this is your own business? Don't forget, you are the clan leader. If you are handed over, how will outsiders look at our Hyuga clan in the future? Can we still hold our heads up? Hyuga Hayashi said nothing, and the others also fell silent, not knowing how to answer. Suddenly, an elder of the main family's eyes lit up. Hisashi. We can hand Hisashi over to die in his place. No. Hayashi refused without even thinking. Hisashi is his twin brother. Patriarch, don't forget the mission of the branch family. The elder of the main family advised. To die for the main family is the honor of the people of the branch family. That's also, with a bang, something seemed to be kicked down outside the door. Everyone in the house looked in the direction of the sound, and a little boy of 4 or 5 years old opened the door with force. Why did you kill my father? The boy cried loudly. Father did nothing. You. Hisashi rushed over in time to cover his child's mouth. At the moment he closed the door, he nodded gently to his brother. Hayashi's heart ached when he noticed the determination and relief in his brother's eyes. After the episode, Hisashi Gen shook his head, stood up and prepared to leave, not wanting to talk nonsense with these cowards anymore. Elder Minamoto, I have to receive an important guest, so I have to excuse myself. When he reached the door, he suddenly turned back. In fact, I was just thinking that if the fourth Hokage had not sacrificed himself, then the ninjas of Konoha might have already gone to the front line. Everyone was silent. If the second Hokage were still alive, he would have countless ways to deal with Kumogakure, and among these methods, the only thing that would not be compromise. If the first Hokage were alive, the Kumogakure would have come to apologize last night. He scanned the room with a look without any emotion. If it was Uchiha Madara, then the Raikage would come to Konoha in person. He would kneel down in front of the Hokage building to repent and beg Uchiha Madara not to go on a killing spree and wipe the Kumogakure village off the map. Minamoto, Elder Minamoto, please don't say that. The third Hokage also made great contributions to the village. Hearing Hyuga Minamoto's treasonous words, the elder of the main family who had just proposed to let Hisashi die in his place was stunned. Of course I know. The praises for him in each issue of Homura Fan Weekly have made me feel a little sick. With a bang, the door was shut heavily. Dong dong dong. Shiratori opened the door, and in front of him was a beautiful girl with white eyes. Excuse me, who are you? He felt a little familiar. Shiratori, long time no see, I'm Hinata Chinatsu. The girl's voice was gentle and pleasant. Oh. Sorry, you have changed a lot. I didn't recognize you. Shiratori looked at the quiet girl in front of him. The other party's image overlapped with the Hyuga canon who always liked to fight with him in his impression. Excuse me, what can I do for you? My grandfather, the head elder of the Hyuga clan, Hinata-gen, invited you to his home as a guest. Chinatsu was also very emotional. Back then, she tried to catch up with Shiratori, but she didn't expect that after so many years, the gap between the two sides in terms of strength and status has become greater and greater, and the other party has become a big man that even her grandfather must treat with courtesy. Hinata-gen. I mean Elder-gen is your grandfather? Shiratori really didn't know the sacrificed Hyuga Takashi Jonin. He's my father. Ah. I'm sorry. It's okay. After simple preparations, Shiratori followed Chinatsu to the Hyuga clan. Along the way, the atmosphere was a little awkward. Although Shiratori and Chinatsu were classmates and had a different kind of familiarity with each other, Hyuga Chinatsu was beaten every now and then because Shiratori chose to graduate early. The two sides actually only had a little more than a year to get along. So many years have passed, and they no longer have any intersections. Someone didn't even recognize the other person at first sight. That. Shiratori made small talk and asked knowingly, excuse me, what is it that Elder-gen wants to talk to me about? Chinatsu shook her head. I don't know, I think it's about Brother Hayashi. This is your Hyuga clan's business, and it's not good for me, an outsider, to get involved. What's more, your grandfather and I have some conflicts. Grandpa said something before I left. Chinatsu turned her head and looked at Shiratori. Grandpa said that family dignity is above gains and losses, above personal likes and dislikes, above everything. Shiratori understood. What Hinata-gen meant was, as long as you can preserve the dignity of the Hyuga clan, then what does it matter if I bow my head and apologize to you? What's more, what happened back then was at best a quarrel, not a big deal. In front of the door of Hinata-gen's mansion, Shiratori, who was about to step in, was suddenly stopped by Chinatsu. Shiratori. Huh? What's wrong? Please, help the Hyuga clan, please. Don't worry, I will. Chapter 84. Are all radicals crazy? In the yard, Shiratori and Hinata-gen sat opposite each other. Hinata-gen personally poured a cup of tea for Shiratori, showing great respect. Today is different from the past. After Uchiha Setsuna retired, Shiratori has now officially become the leader of the Uchiha clan's Hawk faction. In the police force, he also serves as the deputy captain and the captain of the first squad. Whether in the clan or in the village, he is a powerful figure. It can be said that, if the 14-year-old boy in front of him does not nod, the head of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku, will not even be able to mobilize more than half of the clan's ninjas. The clan leader Fugaku is very afraid of Shiratori, but Shiratori never takes Fugaku's feelings into consideration when doing things. When the Uchiha Hawk faction does something, they will skip the police force and the clan leader Fugaku and report directly to Shiratori. In their eyes, Fugaku, the head of the clan, does not exist at all. The Hawk faction accounts for the majority of the Uchiha clan's ninjas. So in the eyes of big ninja clans like the Hyuga clan, Uchiha Shiratori is the real boss of the Uchiha clan. As long as we can deal with him, well, it seems that it is difficult to deal with him. Don't look at Shiratori's solemn promises to Chinatsu outside. As soon as he entered this door, his face changed immediately, and all the bullshit promises were thrown to the wind. No matter how dry the other party was talking, he just played dumb and interrupted him with a few words, as if he just came to Hyuga-gen to chat and reminisce today. Hyuga-gen picked up the teacup and moistened his throat. It's too difficult. This kid is still as annoying as he was back then. Elder-gen, it's getting late. I'll go back first. There are still a few cases in the police force. Shiratori stood up and was about to leave. Sir Shiratori, please stay. Hyuga-gen's eyes twitched slightly. He finally understood that it was impossible to expect Shiratori to offer to help. He cleared his throat and said solemnly, Sir Shiratori, no, it should be the Hyuga clan that has something to ask for. Oh, please go ahead. Shiratori sat back down and picked up the teacup and pretended to blow it. I believe Sir Shiratori has already known about the troubles of the Hyuga clan. I would like to ask Sir Shiratori and the Uchiha clan to lend a hand and save the face of the Hyuga clan. Shiratori put down the teacup with a puzzled look on his face. How to help? Why should we help? What does it have to do with us? Hinata-gen's old teeth were almost broken by himself. He didn't see the rabbit, so he didn't release the eagle, right? Okay. If you can help, Lord Shiratori, from now on, the Hyuga clan will become the Uchiha clan's most steadfast ally. However, you are only the head elder of the Hyuga clan, not the clan leader. Although my status is not as high as that of your Uchiha elder Setsuna, I'm also very important in the clan. I know Hayashi, and will convince him. Hearing this, Shiratori leaned forward. If I help, the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan will advance and retreat together from now on. Advance and retreat together. Even if it means wielding a sword against the third Hokage? That's right. Hyuga-gen was dumbfounded. Wait, he spoke a little too fast just now. What did this kid say? Shiratori poured a cup of tea for Hyuga-gen and said slowly, it's just a joke. Even if there is a armed conflict between the Uchiha and Konoha's high-level officials, it is only our family's own business and has nothing to do with the Hyuga. That's good. Hyuga-gen was still in shock. These crazy Uchiha people really want to force their way in. He thought Shiratori's idea was crazy, but he also had a little envy in his heart. The Hyuga clan didn't even have the qualifications to turn against him. In my opinion, this is not a help, but a team up or a bet by the Hyuga clan. Shiratori put his face in front of Hinata-gen and whispered, you can bet that our Uchiha clan will have the upper hand in the confrontation with the Konoha high-level officials. What is your confidence? Hinata-gen narrowed his eyes. Me. Shiratori pointed at himself. Sir Shiratori. Hinata-gen stood up and looked at Shiratori's confident look thoughtfully. My next behavior may be a little offensive. Please don't mind. Please. Hinata-gen opened his eyes wide and actually opened his Byakugan. Facing the other party's scrutiny, Shiratori calmly drank tea, unmoved. Interesting. Hinata-gen actually laughed inexplicably. We old men who are about to die have experienced a lot in our lives. He stared into Shiratori's eyes. The chakra gathered in your eyes is several times or even dozens of times more active than that of ordinary Uchiha Jonin. Even the direction of the chakra in the meridians is slightly different from that of ordinary Uchiha ninjas. This kind of situation I have only seen in one person. Who? Uchiha Madara. Hyuga-gen attacked brazenly and slapped Shiratori with one palm. Bang, golden bones appeared instantly, steadily taking Hyuga-gen's full strength blow. Shiratori sat there without even putting down his teacup. His eyes turned into a kaleidoscope. As expected, Hyuga-gen didn't feel ashamed at all, but he felt mixed emotions in his heart. The Uchiha clan, what a fortune. Elder Gen, have you forgotten that you must never look directly into the Uchiha clan's Sharingan, let alone the manger key? I will give the plan to Chinatsu. You should have a good rest tonight. As soon as Shiratori finished speaking, the world in Hyuga-gen's eyes began to distort and change rapidly. He found himself in the center of Konoha village, and the people around him were pointing fingers at him. The Hyuga clan. Haha. How shameful. Can't even protect your own clan members? What, the second ninja clan of Konoha? Giving the clan leader to Kumogakure as an apology gift. How generous. Hyuga-gen's forehead was throbbing with veins, and he covered his head in pain. No, it's not like that. The people around him slowly gathered around him, and their faces all turned into those of Hyuga Hayashi, or Hyuga Hisashi. They reached out to grab Hyuga-gen, questioning what they had done wrong, and why they needed to die to apologize. Kaiten. Hyuga-gen roared, tearing everything around him to pieces with Kaiten. Grandpa. Grandpa. He suddenly woke up and saw Chinatsu, who was a little scared outside the door, and the yard that was completely destroyed by his Kaiten. Shiratori left at some point. Chinatsu, I'm fine. He fell down and found that his clothes were soaked with cold sweat. Is this the illusion of the Manjaki Sharingan? I was clearly prepared. Hyuga Chinatsu walked in cautiously and handed a letter to Hyuga General. Shiratori said that this is the action plan for tomorrow. Hyuga-jin unfolded the letter that Shiratori had written a long time ago, and he almost swore after just a cursory glance. This is also called a plan! Exclamation mark. Are these Uchiha radicals all crazy? Exclamation mark. Chapter 85 Tonight, two people can't sleep. At night, in the clan's land of the Uchiha clan, a secret meeting was held at Setsuna's house, or Shiratori's house. Although it was called a secret, almost everyone in the clan knew about it, because most of the clan's jonins had gone there, and a group of people walked together, as if they were going to a team building, so there was no need to hide it at all. In the room, Shiratori sat in the main seat. After Setsuna retired, he had completely taken over the old man's position in the clan. Among the radical Uchiha clan, he was the one who had the final say. Even if there were one or two who were not convinced, they became obedient after being called to the training ground to discuss life. There are now 24 radical jonins. Some of them died in previous wars and missions, but more fresh blood has been added, such as Uchiha Titsuka, such as Uchiha Namuki. What? Inahori? Sitting below, Titsuka proudly puffed out his chest, too lazy to think about his embarrassing brother. Is it difficult to be a jonin? Not at all. Isn't it enough to have eyes? I really don't understand why my stupid brother can't become a jonin. Maybe he trusted the teachings of the 8th generation too much and was taught badly? Uchiha 8th generation turned his head suspiciously and found that Tihuo next to him was sitting upright and not looking away. Strange, did this kid look at me just now? And his eyes were very rude. Never mind, it's better to believe it than not. I'll beat him up. My brother in a hurry to vent my anger. Inahori, who was sweating in the training ground to become a jonin as soon as possible, suddenly sneezed. Everyone. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Shiratori said, "We gathered everyone tonight for a mission." The mission of the village? Someone asked. No, it's our Uchiha clan, or our mission. I want to ask you a question. Shiratori continued, are you willing to do anything for the survival of the family? Everyone present was shocked. Have you heard this sentence before? It seemed to be during the Ninetales rebellion. Not long after saying this, Shiratori chopped off 3 root ninjas in front of them. Will it happen again this time? Shiratori, are you going to kill root ninjas again? Uchiha Shan scratched his head. Killing a few root ninjas overnight for fun for no reason. Isn't that a bit bad? What are you thinking? It's not root ninjas this time. Shiratori didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That's good. Everyone was relieved. Tomorrow morning, we are going to kill the Kumogakure delegation, and maybe we'll have a small competition with the Anbu. Everyone's heart was instantly in their throats again. This has our business expanded overseas? Half an hour later, the meeting ended. The senior ninjas left with a worried look on their faces. Uchiha Setsuna walked out slowly from the back of the house with a cane. The old man is over 80 years old. Although his physical condition is getting worse every day, his mind is still clear. Shiratori, isn't it too early to confront the Konoha high-level officials head-on now? He had always been afraid that his disciples were not radical enough, but now it seemed that this worry was obviously unnecessary. He already knew all the contents of the meeting, but he actually did not support Shiratori's decision. He knew the situation of his disciples better than anyone else. Time. It just takes time. Shiratori will grow into one of the highest peaks in the current ninja world. According to his idea, the showdown with the Konoha high-level officials should be held after Shiratori turns 18. By then, no matter the family, strength, prestige, status and other factors can be ignored, because the ninja world respects ninjas, and ninjas respect strength. In this world, the strong always have privileges that others cannot reach. The stronger the strength, the fewer constraints. Take the 3 ninjas of Konoha as an example. Except for the defected Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade are not in the village all year round. They can refuse any mission assignments and ignore the so-called high-level orders. No one will raise any opinions, and even the Hokage will coax them, even if some of their behaviors are actually close to defection. The same is true for Shiratori. As long as his strength can surpass Sarutobi Hiruzen, then it is more important to take care of his emotions than the small threat of the Uchiha clan. Shiratori also understands what the old man means. He knows that with the rapid growth of his own strength, the possibility of the family being wiped out has become infinitely small, but, old man, this opportunity is too rare. I don't want to give up. What he wants to see is not the Uchiha clan hiding behind him, but to let the family truly gain a foothold in Konoha without having to look at anyone's face. On the surface, this incident is a crisis for the Hyuga clan, but in fact, it concerns all the families in the village. Shiratori Hiruzen has stretched his hand too far. He has violated the core interests of the major ninja clans by deciding the life and death of the clan leader with absurd reasons. Civilians are the foundation of the village, but Shiratori Hiruzen seems to have forgotten that the original establishment of Konoha was led by the Senju and Uchiha clans, and the other ninja clans joined together. The support of the ninja clan is the fundamental reason for the existence of Konoha. Well, if you insist. Setsuna stopped persuading and turned back to rest. He has always been the most solid backing of Shiratori and has always believed in Shiratori's judgment. After a brief conversation with Setsuna, Shiratori went out at night. He first went to the Aburame clan and visited the former leader Aburame Shui. Then he went to the Akimichi clan and visited the bedridden Akimichi Tofu in the name of visiting a patient. He even didn't spare the Yamanaka clan and the Nara clan, who he had no relationship with on weekdays. In one night, except for Shiratori, Shimura, and the families of the two advisors, almost all the big and small ninja clans in Konoha were visited by Shiratori. Nara clan. After bidding farewell to Shiratori, Nara Shikaku, the leader of Konoha's Jonin squad and the head of the Nara clan, suddenly sighed. He really didn't want to get involved in this matter. After Shiratori said the first sentence, he wanted to poke his ears out. The little boy Shikamaru walked to his father's side and asked in a baby voice, "Dad, we have a good relationship with the family of the third Hokage, right?" At the age of 3, he was probably smarter than the 8th Hokage, the Inabe brothers, and others. Yeah. Shikaku pinched his nose tiredly. The Shiratori clan introduced our family to join Konoha. Why? Because we are also ninjas. Shiratori Hiruzen couldn't sleep because he received information that Shiratori was running around among the ninja clans. What does this brat want to do? Before the investigation was completed, another piece of news came out. The Hyuga clan invited the Kumogakure delegation to negotiate tomorrow morning, but the location of the negotiation was not the Hyuga clan land, but the square in front of the Hokage building. Compared to negotiations, that place seemed more suitable for fighting. Fugaku, the head of the Uchiha clan, couldn't sleep either. He looked at the thick stack of leave requests on the table and suddenly had a bad feeling. Chapter 86. Why did the Sandaime betray the village? It was 5 o'clock in the morning. The members of the Kumogakure delegation walked out of the hotel, where they were staying in a bad mood. They suspected that the Hyuga clan had set this time just to disgust them. In the Uchiha clan, most of the police force members also gathered, and then left in a rage under the leadership of Shiratori. Uchiha Shizu walked out of the room, looking at the scene in front of him, frowning deeply. His current situation in the clan is much better than before, because Shiratori's strong rise has greatly squeezed the living space of the neutral and conservative factions in the clan. As the genius and strong man who is most at odds with the radicals in the family, he naturally became the hope to fight against Shiratori. Even though he was too close to the village leaders on weekdays, those clan members who opposed Shiratori accepted it, and even the clan leader Fugaku often invited him to his home and asked him to have more contact with Itachi. But Itachi didn't seem to be interested in him. The crowd walked away. Shizu looked at the backs of those radical tribesmen and decided to go over and see. In the square in front of the Hokage building, the Hyuga tribe, led by the tribe leader Hyuga Hayashi, had been waiting for a long time. They looked at the Kumogakure delegation that had just arrived, and their faces were filled with uncontrollable anger. The Kumogakure ninjas didn't care about the anger of the Hyuga clan at all. The new leader of the delegation stepped forward and said to Hyuga Hayashi, "Hyuga clan leader, how are you going to explain to us Kumogakure for the mistakes you made?" Hyuga Hayashi had a blank expression. "Your Excellency seems to have made a mistake. It was obviously your Kumogakure who intended to kidnap my daughter. If you want to explain, it should be your Kumogakure village that should give an explanation to Konoha and the Hyuga clan." The leader of the Kumogakure was a little surprised. This is different from what they speculated. Why do you Hyuga clan want to provoke a war between Kumogakure and Konoha? Not far away, the expression of the third Hokage Shiratori Hiruzen, who had just arrived, was also a little ugly. In fact, he had not made up his mind to ask the Hyuga clan to hand over the people, but he did not want to see Hyuga Hayashi's tough attitude towards Kumogakure. At this time, a sound of footsteps attracted everyone's attention. The Uchiha ninjas of the Konoha police force appeared here and surrounded the Kumogakure delegation from a distance. Uchiha Shiratori walked through the crowd and stood in front of the leader of Kumogakure with a string of meatballs in his hand. Sorry, everyone, I'm late. I was a little hungry on the way, so I took a detour to buy some food. He shook the meatballs in his hand. The Kumogakure ninjas were full of questions. Who asked you? And what are you doing here? Does this have anything to do with you? As if he understood the doubts in the other party's heart, Shiratori clapped his hands, and Tiho behind him cleared his throat, took out an investigation report, and began to read it. The Kumogakure village delegation attempted to plot against the Hyuga clan under the pretext of peace talks, and kidnapped the daughter of the Hyuga clan leader. The investigation found conclusive evidence. So what? The Kumogakure leader looked at Shiratori with a mocking look and smiled playfully. What can you do? Shiratori was also happy, and said with some admiration, I have killed many enemies. You should be the toughest before you die. What? Shiratori stretched out his hand and grabbed the neck of the other party. Sarutobi Hitoshi's face changed drastically. Stop him. These Uchiha, are they all crazy? Exclamation mark. The Enbu ninjas around him rushed over immediately after hearing the order. But Shiratori didn't seem to hear what the Hokage said, and his fingers suddenly exerted force crack. The other party's neck was clenched into a ball under his huge force. The corpse fell limply to the ground, eyes wide open. The Enbu ninja stopped, not knowing whether to step forward. The surroundings fell into an eerie silence. Sandake, I have a suggestion. Shiratori turned around. Since I also killed the bastards from Kumogakure, why not send me to Kumogakure as well? Let me be a companion to Lord Hayashi, how about that? Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was terribly gloomy. Uchiha Shiratori, with this behavior, are you going to betray Konoha? It's you who are betraying Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Shiratori's face turned cold, and he even called out the Sandame's name. You're groveling in front of other villages, begging for peace, and trampling on the dignity of the village. This is what my great-grandfather Senju Tobirama taught you? Is this also his philosophy? Shut up. Anbu, listen up. Capture Uchiha Shiratori. The Enbu ninjas suddenly jumped up and rushed towards Shiratori again. Shiratori was still not afraid. He looked coldly at the Enbu who rushed forward. Main Gekio. Open. Boom. Exclamation mark. The terrifying chakra fluctuations descended here, and the golden skeleton enveloped Shiratori. Then, the golden muscles and meridians entangled and spread around the skeleton, and the chakra coat took shape in the blink of an eye. A golden half-body giant suddenly appeared in front of everyone. Get out. The golden wild god waved his arms and swept the horrified Enbu ninjas away. Witnessing the moment when Susanoo took shape, Sarutobi Hiruzen said in shock, Uchiha Madara. This is impossible. This ability is Uchiha Madara's ability. He had seen Uchiha Madara use it before. He looked into Shiratori's eyes and muttered to himself. Main Gekio. Shisu, who was hiding not far away and peeping, also showed an incredible look. Why did he? When? After repelling the Anbu ninja, Shiratori turned to the Uchiha ninjas and ordered, execute the bastards from Kumogakure on the spot. Yes, these radical Uchiha ninjas were fanatical. They were the first to come to their senses. Isn't it just Susanoo? They are surprised by what they have never seen before. They rushed towards the Kumogakure ninjas without hesitation. The Kumogakure ninjas didn't know what the golden giant that enveloped the Uchiha Brad was. They only knew Konoha was going to kill them. Go. Withdraw from Konoha. But how could Shiratori let them go? As he moved his mind, 3 giant Magatama condensed by chakra and connected by rings appeared in the palm of the Iragami. Yasuka's Magatama. Iragami threw the Magatama in the direction where the Kumogakure ninjas were fleeing. Wherever the Magatama passed, countless Kumogakure ninjas were crushed into pieces. This blow actually killed most of the Kumogakure ninjas. Seeing this scene, Hyuga Hayashi gritted his teeth and finally made up his mind. Hyuga clan, cooperate with the police force to encircle and suppress the Kumogakure ninjas. He rushed out first and slapped a frightened Kumogakure ninja, hitting his chest and making it dented. He knew that this palm meant that the Hyuga clan would be tied to the Uchiha chariot from now on. As the Hyuga clan joined the encirclement and suppression, the Kumogakure ninjas were soon wiped out. After using the Yasukuma Gatama, Shiratori stopped attacking and just maintained Susanoo to confront Sarutobi Hiruzen. On a roof, the ninja clan leaders headed by Narashikaku have been standing here quietly. When they saw Shiratori open the manger key and use Susanoo, Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi gave Narashikaku a look. Yeah. Shikaku turned around and looked at the ninja clan leaders. Everyone, Mr. Shiratori has shown his talent, and now, it's our turn to show our value. Thanks to Ivy Bachi for the reward! Exclamation mark. Chapter 87 Sarutobi Hiruzen's Compromise. The appearance of more than a dozen ninja clan leaders was something Sarutobi Hiruzen had not expected. But Shiratori did not seem surprised. He decisively terminated the maintenance of Susanoo. This ultimate eye technique of the main Gekyo is really harmful to the body. In the original work, those who opened Susanoo without the eternal main Gekyo, except Kakashi, looked as if 10 years of life had been cut off every time they used it. Shiratori has the blood of the thousand hands and has a strong vitality, so it is impossible for him to shorten his life. However, it still hurts, especially after pretending to be here with Susanoo for such a long time. In front of everyone, he wiped the blood and tears from the corners of his eyes, as if nothing had happened, but his constantly trembling lips still explained something. This is still the premise, that Susanoo has not been opened to the Karasu Tenguama form. Seeing Shiratori return to normal, Sarutobi Hiruzen also breathed a sigh of relief. The nearly 60-year-old third Hokage did not want to conflict with the ninjas from the same village. His old indecisiveness came back. He knew that the best thing he should do was to kill Shiratori on the spot. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew how terrifying the grown-up Mangeki Sharingan was. Even if the other party had not disobeyed him and had not killed the Kumogakure ninja, he should have strangled the hope of this Uchiha in the cradle. But he couldn't make up his mind, and he was not sure. Uchiha Shiratori's current physical function was indeed not developed to its peak, but he was also old. If he really used some secret techniques to die with the other party, then Konoha would inevitably go to civil strife. Third generation. Narashikaku's voice brought Sarutobi Hiruzen back to his thoughts. I know you will never hand over your companions in the village. This time, Lord Shiratori was too impulsive. He first gave Sarutobi Hiruzen a way out, and then said to Shiratori, Lord Shiratori, today was just a misunderstanding. You should apologize to the Sandame. Shiratori followed suit. I'm very sorry, Lord Sandame. I have caused trouble to the village. His expression was sincere and his tone was guilty. There was no trace of the lawless look when he pointed at Sarutobi Hiruzen's nose and cursed him before. What can Sarutobi Hiruzen do? Of course, it's okay. You also helped me make up my mind. This is a good thing. The two smiled at each other. As for what kind of dirty words were in their hearts, no one knew. It's good that the misunderstanding has been resolved. I always believe that the Sandame will not do anything to harm our ninja clan. When we joined Konoha, every family received a promise. Narashikaku looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and said respectfully, all ninjas from the family will be integrated into the village, and the village will try its best to protect the interests of the ninja clan, and will not interfere in the internal affairs of the ninja clan. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes twitched. This is me. He cleared his throat and was about to speak to comfort her. Shiratori, you squeezed the neck of the person in charge of Kumogakure too hard. His head fell off with a slight touch. Uchiha Yashiro walked over with the head in his hand, not understanding the current situation at all. What should we do with this? Why are you looking at me? Shiratori took a deep breath. Take it back and make soup. Are you kidding? No, you are what you eat. Yashiro, who wanted to express his opinions, was covered by his mouth and dragged away by Uchiha Shine, who arrived in time. This interruption made Shiratori Hirozen forget what he wanted to say next, and he simply continued with the Kumogakure mentioned by Yoshiro. That soup. No. I mean Kumogakure. How are we going to explain to Kumogakure? Are we really going to restart the war? Don't worry, Sandaime. Kumogakure won't go to war with us. Narashikaku acted confidently. This ceasefire was first proposed by Kumogakure. After the defeat in the Ninja World War and the war with Konoha, the country of lightning has been very unstable. The nobles, including the daimyo, are also very dissatisfied with the huge expenses incurred during the war, and the Raikage is not a fool. Shiratori took over Narashikaku's words. Anyone who can sit on the position of Kage of a village, unless he is the strongest in the ninja world, is a sinister person who is good at calculating. Don't look at the Raikage who usually behaves like a grumpy bull, but he has more calculations in his mind than anyone else. As long as the Sandaime orders that what Kumogakure did this time be spread throughout the ninja world, Konoha and Kumogakure will at most have a verbal battle. Shiratori Hirozen nodded, and then reacted. Did you just scold me as well? The new issue of Homura Weekly published this morning. The protagonist of the first few pages is finally not the Sandaime Hokage. Shock. Uchiha Shiratori awakens the Mangekyou Sharingan. Konoha village no longer has to worry about the tailed beast rebellion. The article states that Uchiha Shiratori of the Uchiha clan accidentally awakened the Mangekyou Sharingan recently, and because this special Sharingan has a great inhibitory effect on the tailed beasts, Konoha village no longer has to worry about the Ninetales getting out of control. Shiratori Hirozen almost tore up the magazine in his hand. After Shiratori took the initiative to expose the Mangekyou, he really wanted the people of Konoha to associate the Ninetales rebellion with Shiratori. But before he took action to fabricate rumors, Shiratori had already taken the initiative and solved the problem in advance. It was obvious that the Uchiha clan knew the nature of the Konoha high-level officials very well and had already prepared for it. Knock, 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 come in. Seeing Uchiha Shizu, Shiratori Hirozen was a little surprised. Shizu? Why are you here? The Sandaime chatted with Shizu for a long time. After leaving, Shizu pretended to be calm, as if this was just a routine report. He returned home, closed the door, and saw the coat hanging on the wall. On the coat, the Uchiha clan's flame fan emblem was embroidered. Shiratori, your existence has brought too many unrealistic fantasies to those radical clansmen. I will never allow the clan to conflict with the village. So I'm sorry, I will change you. At the same time, the root. Heh, stupid. Shimura Danzo slammed his fist on the table. Shiratori Hirozen was very dissatisfied with Shiratori's concession. What's more, that annoying Uchiha kid opened the Mangekyou. Monkey, you should kill him. He's too dangerous for the village. He felt that he was the one who truly cared about the village. In his opinion, dangerous element like Uchiha Shiratori must be eliminated early, otherwise it would be too late to wait until the other party really grew up. Moreover, under his sanctimonious appearance, there was a trace of fear hidden by him. He knew that Uchiha Shiratori would never let him go. It was just a matter of sooner or later. Is Uchiha Shiratori planning to leave the village soon? He suddenly asked a Burame Ryoma next to him. Yes. Danzo nodded. This might be the last chance. We have to think of a way. Chapter 88. City of Fire. Asuma. The Land of Fire. The capital. The streets were busy with traffic. Shiratori looked around and found everything new. As the political center and largest city of the Land of Fire, the capital gave people a completely different feeling from Konoha village. Konoha is a ninja village, a town formed by the gathering of a large number of ninjas. Even the most ordinary civilians must have a ninja within 3 generations, so the villagers will inevitably have a bit of ninja style in their daily lives. The capital of the Land of Fire is a completely secular city, with a stronger atmosphere of life and business, and a more retro architectural style than Konoha. Shiratori seemed to walk into a restaurant casually, sat in the corner, ordered some special snacks, and then closed his eyes to rest. At the table next to him, several businessmen were discussing the international situation, and their words were all dissatisfaction with Konoha and Kumogakure. As Narashikaku speculated, Kumogakure village did not dare to start a war against Konoha in the end. The two sides just sent delegations to start cursing each other, and the ninja army assembled at the border did not take any further action. However, the tense situation still affected the commercial exchanges between the two countries. Merchants who had just restarted trade between the two countries after the war suffered heavy losses. Lord Shiratori, the unshaven middle-aged man, sat opposite Shiratori and greeted him in a low voice. Yes. Shiratori nodded. Did you bring the things? Yes. Please take a look. Is it authentic? Absolutely authentic. Shiratori took a look and showed satisfaction on his face, and then he couldn't pretend anymore. I said. He was full of black lines. I just asked you to make a detailed map of the capital and the surrounding areas. Why did you make it like a spy contact? There are contact locations and contact times. Why don't you cover your face with a scarf? The middle-aged man smiled awkwardly. This is not the first time to participate in important family affairs. I have no experience. They are some Uchiha clan members who have no ninja talent. They usually do business outside and cannot participate in any decision making of the family. Their status is not high. This time, they received a secret letter from Uchiha Shiratori, the number 2 person in the family, which made them very excited. This is my personal matter and has nothing to do with the family. Shiratori waved his hand. You leave first. Don't tell others about my whereabouts. There is one more thing. Help me investigate the shops of the Senju clan. Yes, I understand. In front of the gate of the daimyo's mansion, the samurai on duty stopped Shiratori, but they did not have much vigilance. The appearance of this young man was too confusing. He was 14 or 15 years old, handsome, and elegant. At first glance, he was not threatening. Moreover, Shiratori had a good habit. When he went out, he would definitely change his ninja clothes. He even tore off the Uchiha clan emblem on his clothes. If there was any conflict, he would take them by surprise. Excuse me, is Asuma Sarutobi, one of the 12 guardian ninjas, here? I'm his friend. Shiratori smiled. So you are Lord Asuma's friend? Please wait a moment. A samurai ran in quickly. Shiratori was stunned. It seems that Asuma's status in the daimyo is higher than he imagined. After a while, a young man, no, it should be a young man now, followed the samurai out. Shiratori. Hahaha, long time no see. Asuma rushed over and gave Shiratori a bear hug. No, wait, who are you, buddy? The image of Asuma now is very different from what Shiratori remembered. His greasy long hair is tightly attached to his scalp. His fur collar coat is so dirty that the original color can't be seen, and there are several holes in his pants. He also exudes the pungent smell of low-quality cigarettes, and the whole person looks very sloppy. Hey, a small problem. The work pressure is too great, and I don't have time to take care of it. By the way, why did you suddenly come to the capital? Aren't you supposed to be fighting wits and courage with my father in the village now? Asuma let go of Shiratori, his face full of joy, to see his old friend. Shiratori was a little embarrassed. After all, he had just pointed at the other man's father and scolded him not long ago. Forget it, let's not talk about it, let's go in. Asuma pulled Shiratori into the daimyo's mansion. Along the way, Shiratori finally told him the purpose of his visit. The Senju clan? Do they have power in the capital? Looking at Asuma's confused eyes, Shiratori showed an expression of as expected. It is right to let the family's merchants in the capital to investigate as well. This guy has never left the daimyo's mansion since he became the Guardian 12 ninja, right? It doesn't matter, although I don't know, I can check the information in the mansion. Asuma patted his chest and promised. Thank you. I hope it won't cause you any trouble. After all, this is the daimyo's territory. Hearing this, Asuma proudly pointed to the fire loincloth around his waist and said, Shiratori, I'm one of the 12 guardian ninjas. Not only do we protect the daimyo, but we are also responsible for all matters related to ninjas in the capital. Even if the Hokage comes to the capital, theoretically he has to listen to us. Shiratori, do you want to listen to what you are saying? And you are also working for others. Why are you so proud? By the way, Shiratori, you should also become one of the 12 guardian ninjas. After all, the daimyo is the master of the land of fire, and protecting the daimyo is more important than protecting the Hokage. Asuma was interrupted mercilessly by Shiratori before he could finish his words. What do you think? The daimyo will keep an Uchiha ninja, or an Uchiha ninja with the Mangekyou Sharingan, by his side? Isn't he worried that he will be controlled by illusion silently? Well, okay. Although you can't stay here, you have to promise me one thing. What? Fight with me? Asuma was eager to try. We haven't sparred for so many years. I want to see how strong you are now. Just say you want to be beaten. Shiratori, don't look down on others so easily. An hour later, Monk Delu walked into Asuma's courtyard and was stunned by the scene in front of him. A young man was sitting in front of the house, carefully flipping through the information in his hand. And Asuma was punching the air over there. Shiratori, have you been slacking off in the past few years? It seems that I have caught up with you. Watch this. Ha ha ha. You just dodged. You are not sure you can take my move. Your punch is very powerful, but it still can't break my defense. Don't run. I saw you. Asuma rushed to a big tree and punched and kicked the tree trunk. Delu. No. What's wrong with you? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89, The Thousand Hands Clan. Asuma lay on the ground, staring at the sky with lifeless eyes. Delu clasped his hands together, sat cross-legged beside him, and said something like it's not shameful to lose to the Mangeki, and you look really handsome when you hit the air. After reading the last page of information, Shiratori had a general understanding of the current situation of the Senju clan. After the Senju clan went into seclusion, some of the clan members stayed in Konoha under an assumed name, no longer bearing the pressure brought by Senju, and their children would no longer be named Senju. The other part left Konoha and returned to the ancestral land of the Senju clan, but now is not the warring states period, and the commission tasks are basically monopolized by various ninja villages, so they started to do business. Manufacturing and selling weapons. That's right, with such good physical fitness, it's a pity not to forge iron. The Senju clan's business is very large, and even the samurai corps under the command of the daimyo often purchases knives and armor from them. In the capital, there are also shops of the Senju clan, and there is even a repair factory and 2 warehouses. Shiratori put down the information and knew what he should do. Shiratori. Seeing Shiratori was leaving, Asuma stood up and stopped thinking about life. Are you going to cause trouble for the Senju clan? Yes, that's right. Shiratori had no intention of hiding anything. You should have heard about my mother's affairs. This time I came to the capital, not just to cause trouble. I plan to kill the leader of the Senju clan. Take me with you. I'll go with you. Asuma was eager to try. He had just lost face, and now he wanted to cut something to vent his anger. But Shiratori shook his head and disagreed. You are one of the 12 guardian ninjas. Your actions can represent the attitude of the daimyo to a certain extent. If you take action, the nature will be different. This is his personal grudge, and he doesn't want to involve others. Asuma wanted to say something else, but was stopped by Delu behind him. Delu stepped forward, clasped his hands together, and said solemnly to Shiratori, Mr. Shiratori, I have a favor to ask. You say, if there is a possibility of a fierce battle, can the battlefield be placed outside the capital? Okay. Almost no one knows that the largest weapon store in the capital is owned by the Senju clan. That afternoon, a young man with a sword walked into the store. Welcome. What do you want to buy? Not buying, but selling. Where is your boss? Take me to see him. Seeing the young man's extraordinary demeanor, the clerk did not dare to neglect him, and hurriedly led him to the store manager's office. In the office, as the clerk closed the door, the store manager, Senju Xiu, who was over 50 years old, poured a cup of tea for Shiratori with a smile. This, young man, I heard that you have a weapon you want to sell to us. Is it an antique or a sword made by a famous master? Shiratori shook his head. I don't know, but that sword is very famous, and it is said that it has a great origin with your Senju clan. Oh, is it convenient for me to take a look now? Senju Xiu became interested. Shiratori took off the sword on his waist and slapped it on the table. After just one look, Senju Xiu's face changed drastically. Shiratori? You are. He looked up suddenly and met Shiratori's blood-red eyes. Now, I say and you answer. Senju Xiu, who was controlled by the illusion, nodded stupidly. The first question, who is the person in charge of the Senju clan in the capital of the Land of Fire? Senju Hidiji. What is his relationship with your clan leader, Senju Torishiro? He is the son of Lord Torishiro. Son? Shiratori was very satisfied. Next question. 10 minutes later, the store manager, Kyanju Xiu, walked out of the office in a daze. He asked all the customers in the store to leave in an impolite tone. Manager, this is you, and you. Get off work now. Manager, why get out of here? Kyanju Xiu also drove away the ordinary clerks and then closed the door. Hearing the noise, some of the Kyanju people working in the store were confused. They didn't know what Kyanju Xiu was crazy about. At this time, Bainaro walked over slowly. He looked at the Kyanju people in the store and smiled slightly. Good afternoon, everyone. Don't worry, as long as you are obedient, I will not kill innocent people. Unless you are a relative of Kyanju Torida. Kyanju Zyoji walked out of a tavern in the capital with a full body of alcohol. It's still comfortable here. He burped. Compared to the boredom of staying in the tribe, this place is simply heaven for him. He let himself go here. The clan leader, Senju Torida, had no idea what to do with his son who was addicted to a life of debauchery, so he simply threw him into the capital and let him roam free, eating, drinking and having fun as he pleased. Lord Hidiji, I finally found you. Senju Hidiji heard the voice and looked over in a daze. You are? Who are you? I'm an employee of the weapons store. Manager who said there are some emergencies that need your attention. What a hassle. Hiccups. Lead the way. Yes. Senju Hidiji sobered up quickly, especially after Shiratori broke his leg with a kick. Ah, my leg, shut up. Don't disturb others. Shiratori grabbed his hair and said coldly, your leg is broken, but your arm is okay, right? Write a letter to your father. What letter? Senju Hidiji cried in pain. Tell Senju Torida that a foreign ninja village wants to order weapons from the Senju clan. The quantity is huge and the price is not a problem. They hope to meet with the clan leader of the Senju clan to discuss in detail. What are you going to do? Why do you have so many questions? Shiratori kicked the other leg off again. The clan land of the Senju clan. Senju Takaichi walked on the road with a heavy heart. A few days ago, he went to Konoha to visit his grandson, but did not find anyone. After asking around, he learned that Shiratori went to visit friends in the capital of the Land of Fire. For some reason, his eyelids kept twitching, as if something bad was about to happen. At this time, the clan leader Senju Torida hurried past him without even looking at him. Takaichi frowned, and his bad premonition became stronger. He walked quickly to the center of the clan land, and found a familiar clan member. Elder Takaichi, you're back. Where is Senju Torishiro going? The capital. The clan leader seems to have some important business to discuss. After hearing this, Takaichi was basically certain that his good grandson was going to do something big. He wanted to stop Torishiro, but, alas, thousands of words finally turned into a sigh. He knew that Senju Torishiro was a big suspect in the death of his daughter, but as the clan leader back then, he had to consider the family. Without Senju Torishiro, the strongest member of the family, the declining Senju clan, would find it difficult to gain a foothold in the ninja world without relying on the ninja village. On one side is the last facade of the family, and on the other side is the grandson who is seeking revenge for his mother's death. Forget it, let them be. Chapter 90 The strongest Uchiha vs the strongest Senju. Senju Torida stood in a messy weapon shop with a gloomy face. On the table was a bloody severed hand, and next to it was a note with a location outside the city, signed by Uchiha Shiratori. Little bastard, I'll let you escape at the beginning. He turned and walked out of the store, and ran quickly to the outside of the city in the surprised eyes of passers-by. Shiratori, please let me go. According to seniority, I'm still your cousin. Senju Hidiji was tied tightly to a tree and kept struggling. Shiratori ignored Senju Hidiji's pleas for mercy. When his mother took him home to visit relatives, she was intercepted and killed by Senju Torida and his men on the way. His mother also begged the other party to let her son go. What was the result? In the battle, Senju Torida punched Shiratori in the cradle without hesitation. In order to protect him, his mother took Senju Torida's heavy punch with her back. He still remembers the warm feeling of blood spraying on his face. If his grandfather hadn't arrived in time and killed the two Senju ninjas on the spot in a rage, and Senju Torida hadn't disappeared on the spot by unknown means, there might not be the current Uchiha Shiratori. As footsteps sounded, Shiratori looked up and saw a burly middle-aged man walking from a distance. After comparing it with the image in his memory, he slowly said, "Senju Torida, you are on time. Little bastard." Looking at his son tied to the tree with a miserable look, Senju Torida almost bit his teeth. He regretted that he didn't risk being discovered by Senju Takaichi and kill this bastard who tainted the noble blood of the Senju clan. "Let me ask you a question." Shiratori drew out his ninja sword. "How did you get away from the battlefield?" "Reverse summoning technique. My summon beast has been hiding in a big tree beside the only way to the Senju clan's territory, as long as it finds the figure of Senju Takaichi." Torishiro casually dealt with Shiratori's questions. His eyes never left his son. He wanted to save Senju Hideki. "Oh, then you didn't prepare in advance today?" "No." "Wait. What are you going to do?" Shiratori swung his sword and slashed at Senju Hideki's neck without hesitation. The head fell to the ground. "Damn it. I'll kill you." Seeing his son die tragically in front of him, Torishiro was instantly furious. He pulled out the huge sword like a door panel behind him, and the whole person turned into a cannonball and rushed towards Shiratori. Shiratori was not afraid at all and chose to rush forward with the sword. Ding! Exclamation mark. The swords collided, and the difference in strength was highlighted at this moment. Shiratori was shaken away, while Torishiro just took a few steps back to relieve the force. "What a strong power!" Shiratori secretly exclaimed in his heart, having expected this situation. After all, he was the strongest of the 1,000 hands of the forest, and had developed his body to the extreme. Unfortunately, physical strength was only a small part of Shiratori's strength. Fire style, dragon flame song technique. 4 ferocious dragon heads formed by flames quickly attacked Toreo and blocked all the space where they could hide. Innocent. Toreo swung his sword and swept towards the 4 dragon heads. Boom! Exclamation mark. The exploding flames engulfed his figure. Shiratori would never miss such an opportunity. As his hands formed seals and left after images, he threw 7 or 8 powerful ninjutsu at Toreo's position. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, a figure cut off all the aftermath of the ninjutsu and came to Shiratori in the blink of an eye. Toreo's face was ferocious, and lines similar to curse seals covered his naked upper body. He held the sword with both hands and chopped Shiratori away again. After landing, Shiratori took 7 or 8 steps back before he could stabilize his body. His arms, which were used to block the attack with his sword, were extremely sore. He looked at the unharmed Toreo and the cursed patterns on his body. Not injured? No, it should be that the injury recovered in a short time after being injured. Toreo, who activated the secret technique, was even more wild. He swung his giant sword and jumped into the air, slashing at Shiratori fiercely. Shiratori's eyes glowed red, and his kaleidoscope opened. With the surge of chakra flames, crystal-like golden bones, tendons, and even chakra codes took shape instantly. Susanoo, second stage. The golden wild god raised his huge arm and punched Toreo. Bang! In this collision of pure power without any fancy moves, Shiratori was on par with Toreo for the first time in terms of strength. Toreo, who was knocked flying, inserted his giant sword into the ground, and a deep gully was plowed out of the hard ground. The arm of Susanoo was also chopped off and restored to its original state under Shiratori's reconstruction. Shiratori and Torishiro, who were covered by Susanoo, rushed towards each other at the same time in a tacit understanding. They all knew that this battle would not end until death. The earth cracked, the soil flew, and the trees broke. As the two fought, this small forest was almost destroyed. Under Torishiro's lead, Shiratori threw away the Uchiha fighting style he had developed over the years. He returned to the reckless fighting style that gave Grandpa Setsuna the most headaches, and drove Susanoo to fight the opponent head-on. Torishiro's total chakra volume was not as good as Shiratori's, but his physical fitness was too strong. with the blessing of strength and the Yang escape secret technique that could instantly heal injuries. He directly chose to resist Susanoo with his body. Moreover, apart from the Uchiha clan, the Senju clan should be the family that knows the Sharingan best. In this battle, he did not even look at Shiratori's eyes. Boom! Exclamation mark. Torashiro was smashed into the ground. He broke off 2 fingers of Susanoo with both hands and threw them to the side. Susanoo staggered. He took the opportunity to bounce off the ground and kicked Susanoo in the chest. Bang! Susanoo's chest was full of cracks from the kick. Although it recovered immediately, Shiratori and the Susanoo outside were still pushed backward by the huge force. Torashiro stepped on the ground and rose into the air. He raised his hands with his 10 fingers, clasped together above his head and smashed Susanoo. The power of this attack was even greater than the previous kick. Susanoo's head and most of his chest were smashed. The incomplete Aragami swung his arms to force Torashiro back, and his upper body recovered again. Torashiro fell not far away and picked up his giant sword. He panted violently and sweated like rain. Shiratori's difficulty was far beyond his imagination. Is that all? Shiratori wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. What? I mean, is this the only strength you have? Shiratori smiled, releasing a terrifying chakra wave from his body. Then I'm sorry, the warm-up is over, and next, you can die. As soon as the voice fell, in the shocked eyes of Toreo, Susanoo changed. The body of the Aragami expanded rapidly, and even looked a little bloated. At the same time, a set of heavy Karasu Tenguama took shape instantly, covering its body. Susanoo Karasu Tenguama form. This is almost the strongest form that Susanoo can reach under the eternal Mangekyo. Except Kakashi, who can open the full form of Susanoo without eternity. And what makes Toreo feel most palpitating is the long sword with gorgeous patterns behind the Aragami. Chapter 91, Sky Cloud Sword. Shiratori's mind moved, and the half-body wild god covered with Karasu Tengu's armor raised his hand to touch the long sword behind him. The handle of the long sword was integrated with the blade, and the surface was wrapped with golden flames. The patterns on the blade were constantly deforming and flowing like golden blood. As the long sword was slowly pulled out, the air passed by the blade was slightly distorted. What is this? Senju Torashiro's face was extremely ugly. Even if he just focused his eyes on the blade, his eyes would have an illusion of stinging. This is Susanoo's exclusive weapon. I named it, the Sword of American English no Kyume. As soon as the voice fell, the golden wild god rushed towards Torashiro under Shiratori's control. When the Sword of American English no Kyume slashed horizontally, even the air seemed to ripple. Torashiro, who had always chosen to collide head-on with Shiratori, retreated. That knife, he couldn't bear it. He retreated suddenly, and the golden blade of American English Kyume swept past his eyes, without making any sound. Both the trees and the surrounding land were split in two by this blow. Looking at the gullies on the ground and the smooth half of the tree trunk, fine beads of sweat oozed from Toreo's forehead. The exclusive weapon of Susanoo is too restraining for ninjas who specialize in close combat. The only way to win may be to drag it out until the opponent can no longer maintain Susanoo. But how could Shiratori do as he wished? And there was one thing that Toreo was wrong about. That is, the cutting ability of the American English Kyume sword is not just aimed at the flesh. Bang! Exclamation mark. Toreo dodged the attack of the American English Kyume sword in a panic, and Shiratori seized the opportunity to control Susanoo to charge forward and knock Toreo away fiercely. At this time, Susanoo evolved into Karasu Tengu armor form, and its strength and defense were greatly enhanced. Even if Torashiro tried to counterattack during the gap of dodging, he could not kick half of the body of the Aragami to pieces like before. Torashiro fell heavily in the distance, and Shiratori did not give him any chance to breathe and attacked again. Facing the sweep of the American English Kurakumo sword, Torashiro could only jump and dodge, but he never thought that this time, Shiratori would not hesitate to release Susanoo. Fire style, Great Dragon Fire Technique. Boom! Exclamation mark. The dragon head condensed by flames hit Torashiro in midair, and the violent explosion swallowed his figure. Earth style, Yellow Spring Swamp. After Torashiro landed, he fell into a huge swamp without even extinguishing the flames on his body. Damn it, he got out of the swamp as fast as he could, but he saw the golden origami who had recondensed. This knife may not be completely dodgeable. He tried his best to retreat backwards, and at the same time, raised the giant sword in his hand, to try to resist for a moment. The American English no Kurosakuma sword wrapped in golden flames easily cut off the giant sword with an unmatched momentum, and then the huge tip of the blade slashed across Toreo's upper body. Blood spurted, and this blow cut a hideous wound across Toreo's chest and abdomen, deep enough to see the bone. Toreo groaned in pain, not caring. This kind of wound would heal if he was given a few breaths, but he thought too well. Seeing the wound on the other part of his body, Shiratori's eyes fixed. Now, Daichuo Jinri. The red light of the kaleidoscope in his left eye was strong, injecting the power of disaster into Toreo's body. Puff. Toreo's wound was violently torn open by the power of Daichuo Jinri, and a large amount of flesh, blood, broken bones, and even internal organs gushed out of the wound. His eyes suddenly widened. The pain of this kind of flesh being instantly crushed from the outside to the inside was something he had never experienced before. And Shiratori did not hesitate at all. He never doubted the healing ability of the Thousand Hands secret technique. Taking advantage of the opportunity, when Toroshiro's body was stiff due to the severe injury, the golden origami held American English Mirakuma with both hands, and cut Toroshiro in half from the waist. Snap. Toroshiro's upper body was separated from the waist, and fell to the ground. Shiratori released Susanoo, and felt a splitting headache. In this battle, he opened Susanoo for too long, not to mention that he used Daiha Jinri once. 2 lines of blood and tears slid down his cheeks. He endured the pain in his muscles and nerves and slowly walked to Senju Toroshiro. It must be said that the opponent's vitality is really strong. He has become so tragic, but he has not completely died. Little bastard. Toroshiro looked at Shiratori, who raised the ninja sword. Without fear, you and your mother have tarnished the bloodline of the Senju clan, so you should be killed. I did nothing wrong. Shiratori nodded. So it's not wrong for me to kill you and your son today. Hands up, knife down. Senju Toroshiro's body and head are separated. The revenge was taken, and a big stone in Shiratori's heart finally fell to the ground. He tore a piece of cloth from the headless corpse of Senju Torida and wrapped his head, while Senju Hideji's body had been torn into pieces in the aftermath of the fight between the two. As a time traveler, he did not have a deep affection for his mother, and the time he spent with her was only half a year. But seeing his mother die tragically to protect him, and feeling the warmth of her blood, he knew that he must do something. There was a rustling sound in the bushes behind him, and Shiratori turned around, and saw a little white snake poking its head there. It looked a little familiar. He did not react for a while. At this time, the little white snake twisted its body and showed a very human smile. Uchiha Shiratori. Boom! Exclamation mark. The ground under Shiratori's feet suddenly exploded, and big snakes rushed out from the ground. They bit Shiratori's body, and their strong and powerful bodies wrapped around it, and in a blink of an eye, they bound Shiratori, who was exhausted after the fierce battle, in place. Shiratori did not resist, but looked around, as if he had sensed something. The 2 halves of Senju Toroshiro's body had disappeared, replaced by a coiled giant snake. The giant snake opened its mouth and spit out a wet human figure. Hehe. Uchiha Shiratori, long time no see. Hearing this representative hoarse voice, Shiratori suddenly laughed. Orochimaru, your appearance is always so strange. The person who attacked Shiratori was none other than Konoha's S-rank rebel ninja, one of the 3 ninjas, Orochimaru. In a restaurant in the capital, Uchiha Shizu sat in a corner, looking at the middle-aged man opposite him who covered his face with a scarf, with a confused look on his face. How did it look like a spy meeting? Master Shizu, the middle-aged man asked respectfully, do you also need a map of the capital and the surrounding areas? No, someone asked you for a map before. Was it Shiratori? Seeing that the middle-aged man did not answer, Shizu continued, don't worry, I just have something important to do to find Shiratori. Do you know where he is? In fact, most Susanus have 4 arms, and their arms will fork from the elbows, that is, there will be 2 small arms on a big arm, which is extremely weird, but it is not absolute. It seems that in the original work of Ultimate Storm, I kind of forgot, Shisu Susanoo only has 2 hands, the same as a normal human body. I personally think that the structure of a big arm connected to 2 small arms is a bit ugly, so the protagonist Susanoo is said to have the same structure as Shisu Susanoo. That is, it is closer to the human image. Chapter 92 Orochimaru, you are very brave. Orochimaru walked in front of Shiratori, his eyes were eager, as if he was admiring some rare treasure. Shiratori felt uncomfortable being looked at, and had roughly guessed the purpose of the first scientist in the ninja world. Orochimaru stretched out his hand to pinch Shiratori's face, but the other party dodged by tilting his head. Shiratori-kun, your eyes are beautiful and powerful. So that guy Danzo finally did something useful. Orochimaru put down his hand, but his eyes were still very aggressive. Danzo? Shiratori raised his eyebrows. Yes, he knew that one of my studies was almost completed, and I urgently needed a new body, so he asked me to rush here. He is really considerate. Sure enough, where there is a conspiracy, there is Danzo's dog. Shiratori made up his mind that within 5 years, no, within 3 years, he would settle all the new and old grudges, and must get rid of that maggot. Just treat it as a charity event, doing a trivial thing for the entire ninja world in Konoha village. Do you know what eternal life is, Shiratori-kun? Shiratori quietly watched Orochimaru's performance. Orochimaru was excited, and even danced with joy. I don't know yet, but I have some clues. I need a new body, a perfect body, that can make me eternal. So you are attracted to me? Shiratori asked. Yes. The combination of Uchiha and Senju, awakening the legendary Manger Key. Orochimaru stretched out his hand to Shiratori's eyes. Who else is more suitable than you? With Shiratori's sigh, Orochimaru's fingers stopped in front of Shiratori, but this was not his initiative. But why? Orochimaru suddenly found that his body could not move. What were you mumbling to the air just now? Senior Orochimaru? Shiratori appeared beside Orochimaru and patted the latter's shoulder. And in his original position, the bodies of snakes had already been torn into pieces, and the blood dyed the line below red. Illusion? Immobilization technique? When? Orochimaru was shocked at first, then he laughed morbidly. What a powerful eye power. This is really wonderful. Perverted masochist. Shiratori cursed inwardly. He walked slowly in front of Orochimaru, looked into his eyes, and said slowly, among the 3 ninjas of Konoha, the one I most want to face is you. If it was Jiraiya who attacked me today, I might be in a bad state. I might really be taken down. Shiratori, are you humiliating me? Hearing Shiratori say that he was not as good as Jiraiya, veins popped out of Orochimaru's head. No matter who he is, he can't be worse than that idiot. Shiratori shook his head. I'm not talking about strength, but the soul. With a buzzing sound, accompanied by a strong tinnitus, everything in front of Orochimaru began to distort. When the picture was frozen again, he found himself in a blood-red space with several thick iron nails inserted into his body. Magical shackle technique. So this is the technique. Interesting. He murmured. You are the interesting one, Orochimaru. Shiratori's voice came from all directions. Your soul is riddled with holes and even has traces of tearing, which makes your spiritual energy like a rootless duckweed, and it is impossible to be concentrated and mobilized. In this situation, you dare to face a man with a Mangeki Sharingan? Orochimaru raised his hands with all his strength, trying to use hand seals to dispel the illusion. Swish, the knife flashed, and blood spurted. One of Orochimaru's arms was cut off by Shiratori, and the illusion world in front of him was finally shattered. But he still couldn't move. Shiratori put the ninja sword on Orochimaru's neck. In this situation, how did Uchiha Itachi in the original work pretend to be cool? Oh, I remember. Orochimaru, any of your moves will have no effect in front of my eyes. Uchiha Shiratori. The blade gradually approached Orochimaru's neck, and then stopped. Forget it, you go. Shiratori put away the knife and even dispelled the illusion imposed on Orochimaru. Shiratori-kun, why? Orochimaru covered the wound of his broken arm with an incredible look on his face. He really didn't expect that he would be let go like this. Shiratori turned around and waved his hand, meaning, get out of here. To be honest, he was a little reluctant to kill Orochimaru. This great scientist who firmly believed that science and technology are the primary productive forces was really useful. Besides, he didn't think he could really kill Orochimaru. The opponent's ability to save his life was unique in the ninja world. Over there, hurry. At this time, shouts came from the direction of the capital. Shiratori looked up and saw Asuma, Jilu and the other 5 guardian ninjas running towards him. Shiratori and Senju Torashiro had fought fiercely before, and the noise of the battle was noticed by some patrolling samurai. This is the capital of the Land of Fire. It concerns the safety of the daimyo and a group of nobles. The samurai did not dare to neglect it, and immediately reported to the daimyo. The daimyo also took it very seriously and immediately sent 6 guardian ninjas to investigate. Asuma was supposed to stay with the daimyo for protection, but he felt that this matter was closely related to Shiratori, so he asked to join the operation. But he didn't expect that there would be an unexpected gain. "You are Orochimaru?" Asuma exclaimed, and rushed over without hesitation with a chakra knife in hand. Orochimaru didn't care about those guardian ninjas, but just looked at Shiratori deeply and said, "Shiratori-kun, we will definitely meet again." After that, his body disintegrated into small snakes, drilled into the ground and disappeared. Asuma ran to Shiratori, looked at the place where Orochimaru disappeared, and slapped his thigh heavily. "Ouch. Shiratori, why didn't you stop Orochimaru just now?" Shiratori sat down directly on the ground. "I just had a big battle with the leader of the Senju clan, and I'm not in good condition." "Are you injured? Is it serious?" "No, I'm just a little overexerted. By the way, put the blame for killing the leader of the Senju clan on Orochimaru. Anyway, he has enough life debts on his body, and more debts are better." "No, aren't you so skilled in putting the blame? Rebel ninjas also have human rights, okay?" Exclamation mark. "There is one more thing." Asuma scratched his head. "Are you friends with Uchiha Shisu?" "No, what's wrong?" "He came to you and said that there was something important. It seems to be an internal affair of your Uchiha clan, so it's not convenient for me to ask." Shiratori was stunned. What important matter could Shizu find him for? And it's related to the clan. Could it be that Danzo hoodwinked him? Chapter 93. Remarks on the release. The author was lying in bed, typing the first sentence on his phone with his chubby hands, and then deleted it. I didn't expect that I would get stuck here. To be honest, I always thought that things like "thank you for publishing a book" were still far away from me. A rookie author wrote a small and broken article. When publishing a book, the biggest goal was to be a cannon fodder in the first round of recommendations. I didn't expect that with the support and tolerance of all the readers, this book would go so far. I'm so grateful that I can't express it in words. The author would like to thank you here. Because the author's typing speed is extremely bad, and he can't type blindly, and he has almost no time during the day, he has been typing slowly with his phone in bed at night. Other big guys all have waist pain, back pain, wrist pain, and neck pain caused by typing, but when it comes to me, I have pain in the joints of my 2 thumbs. For some reason, the style of painting suddenly became weird. Ahem. Let's talk about business. Because of the terrible speed of typing, the author basically has no drafts. When I found out that this little crappy novel was about to be put on the shelves, I was panicked and even worried that there would be a drama of not updating after it was put on the shelves. Fortunately, after sacrificing a lot of sleep time and daytime work efficiency, this doesn't matter. I finally saved some drafts, so it won't be too miserable when it is put on the shelves. Although I almost killed myself from overwork, it was barely enough for 5 days, not even 7 days a week. It's not enough to write a bad novel. Even the update is so useless. I'm a waste. I'm showing my cards. I don't even have the face to ask for subscriptions and monthly tickets. Then why do you still mention it, you shameless bastard? Exclamation mark close bracket. But no matter what, I have also become a man who updates more than 10,000 a day. 5-day limited edition. On the day of the release, the first day, it will update 10,000 plus at midnight, and there may be some delays. It will be updated at 10 AM for the next 4 days, and it will still be 10,000 plus. Finally, thank you readers for your support and tolerance of this little crappy novel. Thanks to my editor, Juicy. Thanks to everyone for reading my story. A story about Uchiha Shiratori. Chapter 94, Other Gods. Shiratori originally planned to rest at Asuma's house for a day before meeting Shizu. His current state is really not very good. But he didn't expect Shizu to be so determined to see him, and directly blocked him in front of the daimyo's mansion, so he couldn't run away. There was no other way, so he went to listen to what this guy was in a hurry. Shizu's residence. The two most famous geniuses of the Uchiha clan sat opposite each other. Although they knew each other for a long time, they were not familiar with each other. The relationship between the two was at most acquaintances, not even friends. Usually when they met in the clanland, they just nodded and said hello casually, and they passed by each other without even stopping their steps. So Shiratori was a little surprised by Shizu's invitation, and even felt that the other party was not friendly. And Shizu's first sentence confirmed his guess. Shiratori, do you think the relationship between the family and the village has reached an irreversible point? Shizu stared at Shiratori's face, his tone serious. Is it such a sensitive question at the beginning? Facing Shizu's question, Shiratori's choice was to play dumb. How is that possible? Our Uchiha clan is also an important part of the village, and improving the relationship with the village is what I have been doing. Just kidding. If he talks nonsense in front of Shizu now, his words will be heard by Shiratori Hirozen in a few days. Although it is a tacit understanding among everyone, it cannot be said openly. And what Shiratori said is not wrong. He is indeed trying to improve the relationship between the Uchiha and the village. Under his mandatory requirements over the years, the attitude of the radical clan members towards the outside world has become much calmer, and the impression in the minds of ordinary people is even better than that of the conservatives and neutrals. Hearing this, Shizu shook his head, knowing that Shiratori did not believe in him as a high-level minion at all. He poured Shiratori a cup of tea and tried to slow down his tone. Shiratori, you killed 3 root ninjas during the Ninetales Rebellion and led the family ninjas to participate in the war in violation of the orders of the village leaders. Well, I was impulsive. I will reflect on it. Shiratori said casually. No, that's right. What Shiratori didn't expect was that Shizu actually expressed his support. The Ninetales Rebellion is the biggest crisis for the family. If the suspicion cannot be cleared, the family will not be able to gain a foothold in the village. Shiratori listened quietly, not knowing what the other party wanted to say. But Shizu really changed the subject. After the Ninetales Rebellion, there is no longer a big conflict between the family and the village. Under the leadership of the third Hokage, the village leaders are willing to improve relations with the family. You shouldn't be so strong. Shiratori smiled and agreed with some of Shizu's views in his heart. The Ninetales Rebellion was the main factor that led to the trust crisis of the Uchiha clan in the original timeline, and it can be said to be the fuse of a series of subsequent events. After clearing the suspicion in the Ninetales Rebellion, the relationship between the family and the village leaders remained the same. The leaders still disliked the Uchiha clan, but they no longer had the idea and reason to take further action. In short, it can be said in one sentence, just make do with it. What else can you do? The village leaders intend to stop, but Shiratori will not stop. So many things have happened, so many efforts have been made. His purpose is not to maintain the so-called status quo. Besides, he still has a score to settle with Danzo, and Danzo will definitely be killed by him. At this point, the contradiction between him and Shiratori Hirozen is irreconcilable. Shiratori, you have the Manjaki Sharingan. While these eyes bring you power, they will also amplify your emotions. Are you really sure that everything you do is completely from your heart? You are right. I will pay attention. Shiratori answered seriously, as if he really listened to the other party's advice. He admitted that he was indeed affected by the Manjaki over the years, and his personality became more arrogant and impulsive, and he liked to fight violence with violence. But the Manjaki will only amplify emotions, and will not change thoughts out of thin air. He can be sure that what he has done over the years is completely from his own intention, and at most the means are slightly extreme. No matter how dry-mouthed Shizu was, Shiratori remained unmoved, and just kept nodding in agreement. The will of fire, the Konoha spirit, and the ninja justice. His expression was even a little strange. Aren't these the things he said when he was brainwashing Itachi? Gradually, the room became quiet. Shisu lowered his head and stopped talking, as if he was struggling with something. Seeing that the other party was silent, Shiratori knocked his head and thought that it was finally over. He was now overusing the manger key, and his mental energy was always at a very low level. He felt as he even sitting here and urgently needed to rest. Shisu, I have listened to your advice. If there is nothing else, I will take my leave first. Shiratori stood up and prepared to leave. Shiratori. Shisu suddenly looked up. A few minutes later, Shiratori walked out of the hotel where Shisu was staying. He rubbed his temples and suddenly felt a little guilty. I was impulsive. Now the village is facing off with Kumogakure at the border. As Konoha's top elite jonin, he should have stayed in the village and was ready to go to the front line at any time. But now, he actually left the village for personal revenge. It's too wrong. And he felt that his previous attitude towards the village's high-level officials was a bit inappropriate. In any case, the Uchiha clan is part of Konoha. When facing a powerful enemy, they actually started an internal fight, which was simply a joke for other ninja villages. Well, I have to make some changes after returning. Shiratori walked to the daimyo's mansion, and after seeing Asuma, he asked to stay for one night. Asuma readily agreed, but Asuma followed behind Shiratori, frowning deeply. Why do I feel that Shiratori is a little different from before? There is an indescribable weirdness. Forget it, maybe I think too much. After Shiratori left, Shisu suddenly covered his right eye, and blood flowed out from between his fingers. He endured the discomfort in his eyes, and climbed to his bed with his hands and feet, falling twice in the process. He didn't expect that Shiratori, who had obviously just experienced a big battle, was still so mentally strong. This time, he used Katamatsukami with all his strength, almost blowing his eyes out. He leaned on the bed, breathing heavily. I'm sorry, Shiratori. You are the biggest support of the radical ninjas. Because of your existence over the years, they have become more and more unscrupulous. I really don't want to see ninjas from the same village killing each other. I don't know if Katamatsukami can really work. I just hope you don't make any more mistakes. Chapter 95 Red Leaf Tomb. The sun rose from behind the mountain, and the morning light dispelled the fog in the forest. The crisp sound of birds chirped one after another, and the humid air exuded the fragrance of the soil. The boy walked slowly along the forest path, and the dew wet the corners of his clothes. What a peaceful and beautiful picture. The premise is to ignore the head in the boy's hand. Passing through the woods, the scene in front of him suddenly became clear. The sun shone on the earth without hindrance, and a stream meandered among the green grass. By the stream, there was a slightly dilapidated cabin. The green mountains in the distance, the warm sunshine, the soft grass, the cool stream. Everything here is familiar to Bainaro. He lived here until he was half a year old. His mother often took him out for a walk and took him to sit by the stream to bask in the sun. Until that incident happened, the 8th uncle took the order of the clan to take them back to the village. And every year after that, unless a war broke out, he and his father would return here. Because his mother was buried here. Hearing the footsteps, a sturdy man in his 50s walked out of the wooden house, looking at the head in Shiratori's hand with a complicated expression. Grandpa. Shiratori waved his hand and greeted him with a smile. Shiratori, did you still kill him? Of course. You have no evidence. Evidence needs to be investigated. Shiratori walked in front of Senju Takaichi and said in a humble tone, in these years, you have not conducted any effective investigation for the stability of the Senju clan, right? He turned and walked to the back of the house, and his voice gradually faded away. Do you think you can explain to your mother by killing the 2 accomplices? You can put down your hatred for the family, but you have no right to stop me from avenging my mother. Senju Takaichi sighed at Shiratori's back, but chose to follow. The future of the Senju clan is unclear, but the revenge of his daughter was finally avenged. There is a grave behind the wooden house. The tombstone is engraved with Tomb of Hangai. Hangai is the name of Shiratori's mother. Even after her death, she was not allowed to use the surname Senju. Shiratori placed Torashiro's head in front of the tombstone, and then stood there quietly. Takaichi walked over, looking at his daughter's tombstone with some guilt. tears in his eyes. Hangai, you have a good son, but not a good father. He added silently in his heart. The gentle wind caressed the cheeks of the two, and a small flower in front of the grave swayed in the wind. At this time, an uninvited guest broke the tranquility of the place. Elder Takaichi, why are you still here? The elders of the clan jointly nominated you to be the clan leader again. It's you. Uchiha Shiratori. The young man wearing the forehead protector of the Senju clan stopped suddenly. He looked at Shiratori standing next to Takaichi and the head whose face could not be seen clearly in front of the grave. Suddenly, he thought of a rumor Senju Torashiro did not die at the hands of Konoha's rebel ninja Orochimaru, but was killed by Uchiha Shiratori. After all, it was no secret that Uchiha Shiratori appeared in the capital of the Land of Fire. Many people saw it. The death of the other party's mother is closely related to the clan leader Torashiro. However, the discussion in the clan was soon suppressed, and the clan leaders agreed that Senju Torashiro died at the hands of Orochimaru. There was nothing that could be done about it. Orochimaru had nothing to do with the matter, and as long as the Senju clan did not seek revenge, he would not take the initiative to cause trouble. But Shiratori was different, because this matter was done by him. If the Senju clan publicized it to the outside world without any intention of letting go of hatred, then it is possible that this madman with Uchiha blood flowing in his body would get hot-headed and do something to eradicate the roots. Back then, Senju Takaichi could suppress the pain of losing his daughter for the sake of the family, so now the Senju clan can naturally suppress the hatred of the clan leader being killed for the sake of the family's stability, and Senju Torashiro's death might not be unjust. It's just that some young and energetic people in the Senju clan can't swallow this breath. For example, the one in front of him, Uchiha Shiratori. The young thousand-hand ninja questioned, how did the Tiger clan leader die? Did you kill him? Shiratori showed a playful smile and pointed to the head in front of the tombstone, the person involved. No, some of the people involved are here. Why don't you ask them yourself? Hearing this teasing remark, the thousand-hand ninja understood that the other party was admitting it in disguise. He roared and punched Shiratori. Don't kill people anymore. Senju Takaichi muttered beside him. Shiratori nodded and opened his Sharingan the moment the other party rushed to him. The other party obviously had no experience in fighting with the Uchiha clan, and he stared at Shiratori's Sharingan with angry eyes, as if this would make Shiratori feel his anger. Bang! The thousand-hand ninja fell to the ground and lay motionless. Senju Takaichi turned his head and felt his face getting hot. I finally know why the Senju clan declined. Shiratori also sighed. He couldn't hate such an idiot, even if he wanted to. After a long while, the Senju ninja woke up. Looking at the expression on his face, he seemed to have experienced a nightmare. He looked up and found that Shiratori and Takaichi had already sat at the table over there and started to make tea. He ran over and still stared at Shiratori. Shiratori, never learn your lesson. Is this the illusion of the Mangeki Sharingan? Uchiha Shiratori, you are really amazing. Shiratori thought that this was just an ordinary Sharingan illusion. You were lying down before the Mangeki was opened. Tell the truth, did you use the Mangeki illusion to modify the will of the elders in the clan, so they don't allow us to talk about the death of Chief Torade? My Mangeki illusion doesn't have this function. Modifying will. Shiratori was helpless. He really thought that all Mangekis could use Katamatsukami. Wait, Katamatsukami? Exclamation mark. Shiratori stood up in an instant. These days, he vaguely felt that something bad had happened to him. But what was wrong specifically, he couldn't tell. It was like a different person. At this time, he heard the thousand hands idiot opposite mentioned modifying will, and he recalled that he had seen a person recently, and that person's exclusive eye technique, Uchiha Shizu. Katamatsukami. Shiratori was different from other natives of the ninja world. He knew the existence of Katamatsukami from the beginning, and also understood the effect of Katamatsukami. In this world, the only technique that can silently modify the will of others is Katamatsukami. He broke out in a cold sweat. Could it be that I was tricked by Shizu's Katamatsukami? He turned and looked at Senju Takaichi. Grandpa, I'm going into the house to check my body. Don't let anyone else get close to the house. Okay. Although he didn't know what happened, Takaichi nodded in agreement. Shiratori entered the house and sat directly on the ground, then decisively opened the main Gekio, Kaminaobi. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. I hate it most when people use my brain. Konoha village. The gatekeeper Shiranagenjian sat lazily at the door, feeling exhausted. In just a few years, he had walked a path that others would take decades to walk, becoming a glorious gatekeeper. He felt that he had nothing to pursue in this life. Suddenly, a figure flashed into Konoha village. Who is it? Genjian, who was half dead just now, jumped up in fright. After seeing who it was, he breathed a sigh of relief and sat back down. What? It turned out to be Shiratori. You almost scared me to death. He patted his chest and picked up the 1,000 books that fell to the ground in fear and then put them in his mouth again. Shiratori's eyes twitched. You don't mind being dirty, Genjian? Have you been on duty these days? Yes. Genjian's answer was weak, and there was still resentment unique to workers in his tone. Let me ask you something. Is Uchiha Shisu back? Let me think. Yeah, he came back yesterday afternoon, and he seemed to be a little injured. I saw him covering his right eye the whole time. Okay. Shiratori gritted his teeth. It's you. Don't you know that I hate it most when someone messes with my brain? Why don't you go and ask how miserable the last person who dared to mess with my brain died? What's wrong with you? Looking at Shiratori's murderous face, Zuanjian asked. Nothing. By the way, where is Shisu? Forget it, just pretend I didn't ask. Shiratori was so angry that he lost his mind. Where else could Shisu be? Either he is resting his eyes in the clanland, or he is reporting to the third generation. Looking at Shiratori walking away angrily, Zuanjian had a lot of question marks in his head. What happened? As soon as he stepped into the clanland of the Uchiha clan, Shiratori ran into the shopping trio. Brother Shiratori. Little Naruto waved his hand enthusiastically. Shiratori, you are back. Itachi also greeted him. Only little Sasuke turned his head away, not wanting to talk to this annoying guy. How is it these days? Is Naruto obedient? Shiratori asked with a smile. Of course I will listen to brother Itachi, and I'm definitely more sensible than this guy. Naruto pointed at Sasuke. Sasuke was furious. Do you want to fight? Naruto glared. Fight. The two little guys' heads butted together. Itachi skillfully stretched out his hand to separate them, with a helpless expression. These days, he has been living like this, and the two little guys have to quarrel every half an hour. Through these few days of getting along, he found that compared to Naruto, the unfair treatment of the Uchiha clan is nothing. No matter where Naruto goes, he will be pointed at and even verbally abused, and it is not uncommon for them to be refused entry into stores. He was once disappointed with the ordinary people of Konoha. So these days, he only took Naruto and Sasuke to play in the Uchiha clanland. Itachi, do you know where Shisu is? After the greetings, it's time to get down to business. Shisu? He should be at my house now. At your house? Shiratori was stunned. Yes, because my father called some clan members to hold a meeting at home. Shiratori understood. It was just against the radicals, or the anti-Shiratori meeting. Since he rose to power and gained most of the power of speech in the clan, these people basically have to hold a meeting every half a month. Shiratori, what's wrong? Seeing Shiratori's unhappy face, Itachi asked worriedly. It's a small matter. That bastard Shisu also opened the manger key and used the pupil technique to attack me. What? Itachi was shocked. Uchiha Shisu. How dare he? Exclamation mark. You guys keep playing. I'll go talk to him. Shiratori patted Itachi's shoulder and walked quickly towards Fugaku's house. Itachi felt that something was wrong and hurriedly said to Naruto, Naruto, I can't play with you today. I have to send you home first. Okay, Itachi. Naruto is very sensible. On the rooftop next to him, Kakashi put down his book and looked at Shiratori's back thoughtfully. It felt like something big was going to happen again. You also opened the main Sharingan? and used your pupil technique to modify Shiratori's will? At Fugaku's house, Uchiha Shisu first showed his Manjaki Sharingan, and then told everything he had done. Everyone present was stunned. Even Fugaku was looking at Shisu in disbelief. Shisu, this is not a joke. Did you really control Shiratori? Not control, but modifying will. This is the ability of my Manjaki. Fugaku's face did not show any joy, and he even felt panicked. You should understand Shiratori's character. If something goes wrong in this matter, the consequences will be disastrous. Modifying Shiratori's will. How dare you? Exclamation mark. Shisu did not notice that Fugaku's hands hidden under the table were shaking constantly at this time. Damn it, I must have gotten out of my depth. No one except Elder Setsuna knows the effect of Shiratori's Manjaki technique. I just hope it can remove Katamatsukami. Suddenly, boom. Exclamation mark. A loud noise came from the gate, and the two Uchiha ninjas on guard flew into the house along with the shattered door panels. Shiratori walked in with his hands behind his back, scanning everyone with a look full of oppression. His gaze did not linger on Shisu, but on Fugaku. Uncle Fugaku, please count the losses at home, and make a list for me, and I will pay for it. Shiratori. Fugaku's expression was not good, but he was relieved in his heart. There may be a misunderstanding here. Misunderstanding? Shiratori was amused, and looked at Shisu for the first time. Shisu, your pupil technique seems to have no effect. Do you want to give me another one? Maybe it can really turn today into a misunderstanding. Shisu stood up, knowing that he was in big trouble. This is something I did alone, and it has nothing to do with others. Of course I know. Am I the kind of person who implicates innocent people? Without any warning, Shiratori drew his sword and slashed at Shisu. Shisu, who was well prepared, pulled out his weapon to resist, but was chopped off by Shiratori's terrifying power. His figure crashed through the wall, and even his weapon was cut into a gap. Shiratori, don't be impulsive. Master Shiratori, please don't do it. We will give you an explanation. Master Shiratori, for the sake of our clan. A group of Uchiha ninjas surrounded Shiratori and tried to stop him. Get out of here. With a roar, the golden skeleton enveloped Shiratori, and Susanoo swung its arms to sweep away all the clan members who rushed up. Don't be idle. Go out now, and let the people around evacuate. Shiratori walked out of the broken wall with a ninja sword in his hand. In the yard, Shisu also stood up from the ground. He patted the dust off his body and lit up his Sharingan. Chapter 97 Kaleidoscope vs Kaleidoscope. Shiratori and Shisu fought together. After the previous tentative sword strike, Shisu knew that there was a huge gap between him and Shiratori in terms of strength, so he gave up the idea of fighting Shiratori head-on, and instead played to his greatest advantage, speed. Shisu's speed was faster than Shiratori. Shiratori's ninja sword was wrapped with lightning. He kept chasing Shisu, hoping to force him to fight with him in close combat, but Shisu, under the flash body, was as fast as a ghost, and his movement speed was always one step faster than Shiratori's sword light. Fire style Great Fireball Jutsu. Shisu, who had distanced himself again, fired a great fireball at Shiratori. Shiratori swung his ninja sword, and the lightning shattered the flames. When the flames dissipated, his eyes fixed. More than a dozen identical Shisu stood in the yard, holding short swords, with calm faces. It's not a shadow clone. Is this the illusionary flash body jutsu? The Shisu attacked Shiratori. Ding! Shiraki held his sword horizontally, easily taking on the attack of a Shisu. He punched at the opponent's face, but the Shisu, who was clearly a physical entity just now, had turned into an illusion. His arm passed through the illusion, and another Shisu had already rushed in front of him. Bang! Shisu's flying kick did not pose any threat to him. He blocked it with his arm, and then immediately turned his wrist, and tried to grab the opponent's ankle. As a result, he missed again. Shisu fell from mid-air, and his illusory body passed through Shiraki's body, and then immediately regained his physical body and slapped Shiraki's waist with one palm. Bang! This level of attack was not enough to cause damage to Shiraki. He was just beaten back a few steps, and his whole face was wrinkled. What is the principle of this thing? Illusion? Instant body technique? Space and time? The Shisu didn't give Shiratori too much time to think. They swarmed around him, making Shiratori a little embarrassed. Every phantom could turn into a real entity to attack Shiratori, and every entity could turn into a phantom the moment Shiratori took the initiative to touch it. It seemed that Shisu's real body could exchange positions with all the phantoms, and this exchange was completed in an instant. Shiratori stomped the ground and jumped into the air. Even the stone brick floor under his feet was stepped into a big hole. He had had enough. Since he couldn't distinguish between the entity and the phantom, he would fight together. Fire escape. Phoenix fire technique. Shiratori's unique Phoenix fire technique can release more than 20 highly condensed fire bombs. These fire bombs formed a gorgeous fire meteor shower and carpet bombed the yard. Boom 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 boom. The exploding flames engulfed the yard, and the surrounding tribesmen who were evacuating urgently looked back in surprise, wondering what happened in the tribe leader's house. The flames dissipated, and the yard was in a mess. Shiratori landed on the roof, looking at the Shisu below who had nothing to do, and his head was full of black lines. No. How did Dunzo gouge your eyes in the original book? Exclamation mark. Shiratori. A Shisu below said, let's stop here. I can apologize to you. Shiratori smiled. Do you really think I can't do anything about your illusion body instant technique? He jumped off the roof and opened the main Gekio at the same time. The golden skeleton instantly enveloped him, and crystal-like muscles, meridians, and even chakra coats appeared almost at the same time. After that, a set of heavy Karasu Tengu armor protected the golden Aragami inside. Shiratori actually directly opened the Karasu Tengu armor form Susanoo. Shisu suddenly had a bad premonition. Boom! Exclamation mark. Aragami landed heavily, pulled out the American English Kurakumo sword behind him with one hand and swept forward. When the huge blade of Tenmaku's energy ran over the first phantom, Shisu's face changed drastically. The phantom was shattered. The essence of the phantom instant body technique is a special ninjutsu that requires chakra to activate. What Tenmaku's energy shattered was not the phantom itself, but the chakra he left in the phantom. The chakra structure of the phantom was cut off. With Tenmaku's energy's unreasonable slash, all the phantoms were shattered, and Shisu's body jumped into the air, dodging the fatal blow by a hair's breadth. But what greeted him was the heavy fist of the golden wild god. There was no way to avoid it. Looking at the golden fist rapidly enlarging in front of his eyes, he knew that his physical fitness was far inferior to that of monster like Shiratori. If he was hit by this punch, he would probably die. So he opened the main Gekio without hesitation, and the green chakra flames surged violently around his body. The light of his right eye's main Gekio was extremely dim, giving people the feeling that it could go out at any time. This was already a very lucky thing, because the side effects of Kutamatsukami were huge. If he was not the owner of the pair of Manjaki Sharingan, but someone else used his eyes to cast it, that eye might not be able to open the Manjaki in a short time, and might even go blind. Bang! The green Susanoo descended here, and blocked the punch of the golden Aragami with both hands. However, the strength of Susanoo is closely related to the strength and state of the user. Shiratori's Susanoo is much more burly than Shisu's, and more condensed. Boom! Exclamation mark. The battle between the two half-sized giants, one gold and one green, ended with the victory of the golden Aragami. The green Aragami knocked down the wall of the yard, and was knocked out by a punch. Shisu's eyes shed tears of blood, and he bent over and coughed violently. The Karasu Tengu armor covering the arms of the green Aragami was broken, and countless cracks appeared on his arms. Shiratori would not give Shisu any more chances. He controlled Susanoo, and rushed out of the yard. The golden Aragami held American English Murakami tightly with both hands and slashed down. The head of the green Aragami, along with an arm and half of the chest, was directly cut off. But Shiratori frowned. Susanoo is a special chakra aggregate. Although this attack seemed unstoppable, it did not trigger American English Murakami's ability to cut off the chakra structure. It was just simply sharp. Maybe because they belonged to the same main Gekio ability creation. American English Murakami's restraint on other Susanoo did not seem to be that strong. At the moment, when Susanoo was severely damaged, Shisu bled from all 7 orifices. Not to mention repairing it, he couldn't even maintain the incomplete Susanoo. The green origami collapsed instantly, and Shiratori took the initiative to remove Susanoo. He walked in front of Shizu, who fell to the ground, grabbed the opponent's neck, and lifted him up. Shiratori, you can't kill him. Fugaku ran over and grabbed Shiratori's wrist. Shizu was wrong in this matter, but he doesn't deserve the death penalty. He is also a member of the Uchiha clan. Look over there. Shiratori turned his head to look. Because the battle was too noisy, a large number of clansmen gathered in the distance to watch. He smiled and said, "Okay, I won't kill him." Shiratori would not have killed Shizu at first, not because of the so-called same clan reasons, but because the other party would be of great use at some point in the future. But the death penalty can be avoided, but the price must be paid. He pinched Shizu's neck with one hand, and inserted the other hand directly into the other's left eye socket. Puff, you used this eye to cast the eye technique on me. I accepted it. Shiratori looked at Shizu, who was thrown aside by him, and said lightly, "I will spare your life today, so if I do anything to you in the future, don't blame me." Chapter 98 Orochimaru's Letter. Shiratori's residence. All the radical jonin of the Uchiha clan were present. They came to the meeting on their own initiative after learning that Shiratori and Shizu had clashed. After all, this matter was a bit of a big deal. Even Kakashi from the Anbu had just come here, asking about the situation on behalf of the Sandaime, but Shiratori brushed him off with the lame excuse of a normal sparring match. Kakashi was stunned at the time. Sparring? You Uchiha clan also wear eyeglasses when sparring? Is it a family feature? I also have a Sharingan. Do I have to hand it over if I lose in a sparring match with you in the future? Shiratori's status is quite special, so Kakashi couldn't ask too much. So he just let the Sandaime worry about it himself. And you really don't have to care about Shiratori's explanation. Anyway, the Sandaime will definitely get the answer that Shiratori can't get from Shiratori. Compared with the perfunctory explanation to Kakashi, Shiratori's explanation to the radical clan members was much more detailed. Hearing that Shizu actually used his eye technique to attack Shiratori, everyone was furious. When they understood the specific effect of Shizu's eye technique, the room exploded. What? Change the will? How can there be such a disgusting ability? Could it be that I have also been changed? Come on, tell me, is there anything strange about me recently? Shion, I think I may have been tricked. Don't worry, Yoshiro, you have been so stupid for so many years, you must not have changed. Looking at the chaotic scene below, Shiratori's head was full of black lines. He felt that these tribesmen were definitely overthinking. Is Kotomatsukami so important? Would he waste it on you? Don't be kidding. In the entire Konoha village, there are no more than a handful of people who are eligible to be named by Kotomatsukami. Before these radical clansmen came, they had some opinions about Shiratori's behavior of digging out Shizu's eye. Sharingan is of great significance to an Uchiha ninja, and Shizu is also of the same clan. Although they belong to different factions, they have a good relationship on weekdays. But after learning that Shizu dared to attack Shiratori and the effect of his Manjaki pupil technique, they felt that Shiratori's behavior of digging out one eye was too kind. Why not dig out both of his eyes? It's not impossible to kill him directly. After everyone left, Uchiha Chuan turned back. Shiratori was not surprised by this, because he just noticed that the most stable ninja among the radical clan had something to say. Shiratori. Uchiha Chuan sat opposite Shiratori. What do you think the consequences of this incident will be? Shiratori shook his head. After all, it was a family affair within the Uchiha clan, and the Konoha high level had no reason to intervene. The only possibility was to accuse him of attacking ninjas from the same village, but he firmly believed that the third generation would not do this. Besides, it was Shizu who attacked him with the pupil technique first. Uchiha Chuan said in a deep voice, "It's the Manjaki. Since you have already opened the Manjaki Sharingan, you didn't pay attention to it. But in the eyes of us, and the village leaders, the real impact of this incident is the Uchiha clan. There are two ninjas who have opened the Manjaki." Shiratori raised his eyebrows. Shiratori, I want to ask you some questions, and I hope you can answer them truthfully. Uchiha Chuan's expression was extremely serious. Okay, tell me, do you have the idea of killing Shimura Danzo? Yes, I will definitely kill him, and not only him, I will also destroy the entire route, no matter what contributions they have made to Konoha. Then, what about the Sandaime? If you want to destroy Danzo and the root in the most cruel way, the battle with the Sandaime is inevitable. But I won't kill him. He can die, but he can't die in our hands, and the crime of killing the Hokage can't be put on the family. Uchiha nodded. Then now, are you sure you can defeat the Sandaime? Shiratori was silent for a long time, and finally shook his head. The previous battle with Senju Torashiro made him understand one thing. Before the era of the 5 kg level strongmen in the ninja world more than 10 years later, they were the world's top combat power and the pinnacle that ninjas could reach. Just like the difference between a Jonin and a special Jonin, Senju Torashiro was at best a special kage who specialized in physical skills, and Shiratori almost used up all his means to kill him. Then, what about Sarutobi Hiruzen? Many people say that Sarutobi Hiruzen's strength is not strong, but what kind of people are compared with him? Basically, there is no normal one. Except for those who are not human. As a famous water bucket waste, Sarutobi Hiruzen's strength has no shortcomings. In the category of ninjas who use conventional ninjutsu, his combat power has reached the peak. And those unconventional techniques, he seems to know a lot. The title of ninjutsu professor is well deserved. Even just 2 years ago, he was absolutely sure to kill the defecting Orochimaru, but he softened his heart in the end. Seeing Shiratori shaking his head, Uchiha took a deep breath. Unlike other clan members, in my opinion, the Sandaime is a qualified and even excellent Hokage. He has given the Uchiha clan relative fairness, and is willing to see us truly integrate into Konoha, but it's just that the strength of the Uchiha clan cannot be too strong, and cannot exceed the limit of his tolerance. Shiratori understood what Uchiha meant. In the previous Bayan incident, Shiratori's tit-for-tat with the Sandaime actually showed his attitude. The problem now is that Shiratori does not want to have a complete showdown with Sarutobi Hiruzen, but the Uchiha clan has 2 owners of the main Juki Sharingan, which has exceeded the red line in the Sandaime's heart. No matter how close Shisu is to the village leaders, he is still a member of the Uchiha clan. Brother Chuan, do you have any ideas? My idea is very simple. Uchiha Chuan smiled slightly. Shiratori, you are not yet 15 years old, and you are in the period of growth. Your physical energy, mental energy and chakra are far from reaching their limits. Are you sure you can defeat the Sandaime after you become an adult? Of course, there is no suspense. Then wait. What we lack the least is time. But you can't stay in the village for a long time. You must leave. Leave. Yes. The main Gekio that is out of Konoha's sight is what the top leaders fear the most. In the eyes of the village top leaders, your threat is greater than that of the entire Uchiha clan. When you are sure to defeat the Sandaime, we will not be afraid of anything. Actually, I have this idea too. Shiratori smiled. It's not that I'm afraid of the village top leaders. I don't think the Sandaime has that kind of courage, but I have my eyes on some of the root's strongholds outside the village. Before we take action against the root, these strongholds must be eradicated in advance. Konoha police force. Shiratori sat in the office, thinking about the next plan. How to get the location of the root base. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Please come in. Lord Shiratori, there is a young man outside, who said he has a letter to give you. Letter? What's the boy's name? He said his name is Ken Misumi. Shiratori touched his chin. Could it be a letter from Orochimaru? Outside the building, Ken Misumi was almost scared to death. A spy is going to hand over a handwritten letter from a rebel ninja to the deputy captain of the police force. Too exciting. Shisu will not survive the 20 chapters, and his death is driven by the protagonist. The official alias of Susanoo in the setting book is the brave Iragami, and the word Iragami is not something I made up randomly. I guess many people think that the protagonist is a saint. Well, I hope you don't think the protagonist is too crazy and cruel after a few chapters. Chapter 99 Grass Country Experimental Base. Land of Grass. Shiratori walked leisurely on the country road, leaving Konoha village, and away from those troubles. He felt that he was clear-headed. This journey was quite like traveling. Before leaving, he only notified a few familiar people, as well as the clan leader Fugaku, mainly to resign from the position of deputy captain of the Konoha police force, and to ask him to bring a letter to Sarutobi Hiruzen. The main content of the letter was that he met Orochimaru in the capital of the Land of Fire, and he was very sorry that he could not catch him, so he was going to search for him in the entire ninja world, and the time was undecided. At the end of the letter, he also mentioned Jiraiya and Tsunade, saying that he admired these two great ninjas very much. Even if they left the village for many years, they still had Konoha in their hearts. Well, it means you can't control these two guys running around outside, so don't bother me. He didn't know what the Sandaime felt when he saw this letter. Anyway, he had already come out. And there was one thing he didn't say nonsense. He was indeed looking for Orochimaru. After receiving Orochimaru's letter, Shiratori set off for this small mountain village in the Land of Grass. He thought that Orochimaru's base would be in the Land of Fields. Perhaps it has not moved to the Land of Fields yet? After all, even the Hidden Sound village does not exist yet. Of course, this could also be another research base of the other party. After all, it is not a wise move to put a dangerous person like himself in the nest. Shiratori looked at the small mountain village not far away and was basically sure that this was it. The Hidden Grass village did not care about the public security of the Land of Grass. The whole country was full of bandits and robbers. He had experienced many roadblocks and robberies along the way, so his wallet was much fatter when he got here. This place is located at the junction of the Land of Grass and the Land of Earth. The public security situation must be extremely bad. To be able to survive here, this small village must be very important. When he walked outside the village gate, Shiratori saw Orochimaru standing there at a glance. Shiratori-kun, I didn't expect you to really come. I feel very honored. Orochimaru greeted him in his signature hoarse voice. You are too polite. After all, it is an invitation from the S-rank rebel Orochimaru. If I rebel from the village in the future, I might come to you for help. Shiratori walked side by side with Orochimaru into the village. The village was empty, but there were traces of life. The villagers here should have been temporarily relocated. Speaking of which, I have to thank Shiratori-kun for not killing me back then. Orochimaru licked his lips with his long tongue. Kill you? Orochimaru, don't joke. Is there really someone in this world who can kill you? Shiratori glanced at Orochimaru. This guy has an invincible ability to save his life. Every time you think you have completely killed him, he will come out intact from some corner. As the two talked, they walked into a small courtyard. Orochimaru opened the secret door on the ground and made a gesture of invitation to Shiratori. Shiratori didn't seem to mind showing his back to Orochimaru and walked into the secret passage first. Orochimaru laughed and followed him. At the end of the secret passage is an underground laboratory. The environment is cold and dim, and there are even several prison cells, which is very consistent with the identity of Orochimaru, a Frankenstein. However, this laboratory is just like the small mountain village above, without a single person. I knew that Shiratori-kun was coming, so I gave the people here a holiday, so that they would not disturb my conversation with Shiratori-kun. You are afraid that I will find out about the human experiment you are doing. Shiratori's voice came from behind, and at the moment the voice sounded, the Shiratori in front of him disappeared strangely. Orochimaru's expression froze, and he slowly turned around and found that Shiratori was behind him. At this time, the other party was looking at the laboratory with interest. Illusion. When? Outside the yard. This is your territory. How could I walk in front of you? Who knows if I will encounter any surprises? Hehe. Interesting. Really interesting. Orochimaru laughed. Is this considered a show of power? It seems that the problem of the soul must be solved. You can't just kneel down as soon as you see the manger key. Shiratori pulled over a chair and sat down, then asked, Orochimaru, there's no need to beat around the bush. You invited me here. What's the matter? Orochimaru stood in front of Shiratori and smiled. Shiratori-kun, your Sharingan has evolved into the legendary manger key, just like Uchiha Madara did back then, right? Shiratori nodded and motioned for the other party to continue. The manger key, is this what the Sharingan really looks like? Or should I say, the manger key is the essence of the Sharingan. What exactly do you want to ask? The Uchiha clan has a long history, which can even be traced back thousands of years. I have seen fragments of it in some secret materials. Orochimaru's eyes lit up. Your Uchiha clan has 1,000 connections with the legendary sage, and even inherited his eyes. He became more and more excited as he spoke. The manger key. Is this the eyes of the sage? No, how could the eyes of the sage be so weak? Look at less messy things. Orochimaru was disappointed. He really thought he had discovered the truth. You seem to be very interested in that sage. Shiratori raised his eyebrows. Of course, because I want to pursue eternal life. But that sage can't be immortal. Hearing this, Orochimaru was even more disappointed. But I do know some information about the immortals. Shiratori changed the subject and pointed behind Orochimaru. Have you studied that thing? Following the direction of Shiratori's finger, Orochimaru saw a huge glass jar with a white humanoid creature soaking in it. Don't get me wrong, this is not a human experiment. I discovered this white creature by accident. From a genetic point of view, it cannot be considered a human, but a combination of humans and plants. This creature is white Zetsu, and it is related to the immortals. To be more precise, it is related to the immortals' eyes. The immortals' eyes? Yes. What is it? The Samsara eye. You may have seen it before. Orochimaru was shocked. The Samsara eye. He had really seen it. During the Second Shinobi World War, that often from the land of rain. Is the Samsara eye born? Is it a bloodline limit? He asked anxiously. Shiratori did not answer directly. As far as I know, there is only one pair of Samsara eyes in this world, and its owner is Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara. Orochimaru recalled the Nagato he met at the beginning. No matter the age or appearance, he doesn't match Uchiha Madara. What's going on? Is this kid Shiratori lying to me? Or do you want to know more about the Samsara eye? Shiratori leaned back. What do you need? Don't worry about that. I suddenly have a little interest in this person now. Shiratori picked up the photo on the table. In the photo, there is a boy wearing glasses. Shisu will not live beyond the 20th chapter, and his death is driven by the protagonist. The alias of Susanoo in the setting book is the brave Iragami. The two words Iragami are not made up by me. Maybe many people think that the protagonist is a saint. Well, I hope you don't think he is too crazy and cruel after a few chapters. The protagonist will soon have a head-on confrontation with the Konoha high-level officials. Chapter 100. Pharmacist Kabuto. Orochimaru looked at Shiratori picking up the photo and was slightly surprised. Shiratori-kun, do you know him? No, but I can tell at a glance that this person is destined to be with me. Can you introduce him to me? Orochimaru. I don't know him, and I'm destined to be with you. You must be kidding. But he still introduced. This child is called Kabuto Yakushi. Speaking of which, he also treated my injuries. Then, he slowly told Kabuto Yakushi's experience. Although Shiratori already knew all the information, he still listened carefully. Well, that's it. His spy career over the years has made him know too many secrets that should not be known, so Shimura Danzo entrusted me to kill him. Shiratori sometimes really admired Danzo's brain circuit, because the spy holds many secrets in his hands, so he entrusted a traitor who should be very interested in these secrets to solve them. Shimura Danzo is worthy of being the biggest scourge of Konoha. As a high-level village official, he actually has a close relationship with you, a traitor. Traitor. Orochimaru looked at Shiratori speechlessly. What about you? What are you doing? You went directly to the rebel ninja's house as a guest. Leave this person to me. How about it? Shiratori knocked on the table and stared at Orochimaru with an unquestionable look. Shiratori-kun. Orochimaru's smile slowly faded. I have already promised Shimura Danzo about this matter. The most important thing is that Kabuto Yakushi is someone he values. The reason why he chose to meet Shiratori in the land of grasses, because it is closest to the land of earth, which makes it convenient for him to recruit Kabuto Yakushi. It's just an insignificant spy. Don't be so stingy. Just think of it as a thank you for not killing me. Shiratori-kun, it's not that you didn't want to kill me at that time, but you were not sure, right? Shiratori's smile remained on his face, but his eyes suddenly turned into a kaleidoscope. Really? Do you want to gamble again? Cold sweat oozed from Orochimaru's forehead. The restraint of the Mangeki Sharingan on him was too great. Okay, since Shiratori-kun has already spoken, But I don't understand why you value Kabuto Yakushi so much. Why? How could we not take him seriously as the second scientific genius in the ninja world, and one who specializes in human body modification? But Shiratori remained calm on the surface, because he is the person Danzo wants to kill, and I will definitely destroy what Danzo wants to do. I see. Orochimaru nodded, but no one knew what he was thinking in his heart. Orochimaru, there is one more thing I need your help with. Shiratori stood up, ready to leave for the land of Earth immediately. You say, do you still have all the letters between you and Danzo? There is no use keeping them with you. Give them all to me. What? And the records of those anti-human experiments that Danzo asked you to do. Sort them out and give them to me. Wait, before you defected, you cooperated with the Root and kidnapped a lot of innocent people, right? I want these evidence too, preferably with photos. Shiratori-kun. Orochimaru was furious. Don't you think your request is excessive? Danzo and I are secret allies. There is absolutely no way. Shiratori turned and left. What a pity. I know the hiding place of the owner of the Rinnegan. I thought you were very interested. After all, you are in urgent need of a new body now. In a flash, Orochimaru flashed in front of Shiratori and stopped him. Danzo and I are not familiar with each other. We can discuss it. Okay, in addition to these, you should know something about the Root's intelligence base outside the village? Tell me the address. Hehe. Shiratori, don't go too far. Uchiha Madara is the ancestor of our family, so I have some understanding of the conditions for opening the Samsara. When do you want the things? Wait for me for a few days, I will sort it out. 5 days later. Land of Earth, outside the Hidden Rock village. A large number of Hidden Rock ninjas formed combat teams and went out of the village to search for Konoha spies. They were all furious. If they hadn't received a secret letter of reporting, they couldn't imagine that a young spy could swagger around the village for so long. Various important places were allowed to enter and exit at will, as if they were unguarded, and even the conversations between that Tsuchikage and some senior ninjas were recorded intact by him. Behind a rock wall, when a team of Iwagakure walked away, Kabuto Yakushi stuck his head out to observe, and then hid back. This mission in Iwagakure village was full of weirdness, and he didn't even know how he was exposed. His heart was beating fast, but it was not because of nervousness, but because of the constant and large-scale changes in hiding positions. After so many years of spy career, he had long forgotten what it felt like to be nervous. He took out his pocket watch and looked at it. The pointer was about to point to 9 o'clock. It's time to go to bed. In the orphanage, it was time to turn off the lights and go to bed. Suddenly, a figure approached him. Kabuto Yakushi bent down to avoid the opponent's attack and then rushed out from behind the rock wall. Have you been discovered? He ran while thinking about countermeasures, and the opponent chased him relentlessly and soon caught up with him. Looking for death, he dodged the opponent's attack again, turned around and used the chakra scalpel to fiercely cut across the opponent's body. Bang! The figure fell heavily to the ground, and a pair of broken glasses was thrown aside. In the pale moonlight, he saw the other person's face clearly. Dean. Kabuto Yakushi felt that all the strength in his body had been drained away. He crawled over with his hands and feet and performed medical ninjutsu with his trembling hands, trying to treat the fatal wound. He was picked up and brought back to Konoha orphanage. To him, this gentlewoman has always played the role of a mother. And now, he hurt his mother with his own hands. How is it possible? How is it possible? Not far away, Shiratori, who arrived in time and witnessed all this, breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it's not too late. He walked straight to the two of them, without even hiding the sound of his footsteps. Kabuto Yakushi knew that someone was coming, but he could no longer care about these things. He just tried his best to treat the dean who was severely injured by him. Yakushi Nono was already on his deathbed. She looked at the enemy in front of her who was trying to save her life, and asked weakly, Why? You? Dean Nono, here's Kabuto Yakushi. Shiratori spoke up, and blocked Nono's critical attack on Kabuto Yakushi. Kabuto? Nono's eyes were a little confused. Kabuto's appearance is not like this. Shiratori patted Kabuto Yakushi's shoulder and motioned him to go to the side. Get out of the way. Don't waste time. I can save her. Kabuto Yakashi didn't know who this person was, but he was completely dumbfounded now. Just hearing "I can save her," he rolled and crawled out of the way. Then, he saw Shiratori's Manjaki Sharingan. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.